Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to Monkey Business. Glad you could join us. Happy you're here. I am joined by my co-hosts Warren
How's it going?
and Will.
He's
Hey
back.
guys, about 30 minutes ago, I was at the gas station and the owner of the gas station walked out to me and was like, "Hey man, do you want these two small pizzas? Because I'm going to throw them away otherwise." And so I took them and ate them.
That sounds like a great day.
Not a bad day at all. Gas station pizza's pretty bad, but
Hmm.
pretty good.
And you're not feeling sick? You're still feeling
I
normal
have I
in
have
the
over
head?
400 hours of sick leave. I will eat whatever I want. Besides, it's going to be a snow day tomorrow. Who cares?
That it is.
Wait, really?
Hopefully. Warren,
Hopefully.
what do you
For some people, hopefully.
yeah,
For
for
me.
some Warren. All right. I'm excited for this mostly because you guys have bad opinions and
Yes, we do,
I
and we
am
are
really
eager to
good.
share them. So
Yes, we
here
are.
we go. Today's episode is going to be us three going over all the movie, not all the movies. We're going to be talking
Every
about
movie ever released.
2022. And the movies that came out, the movies we really liked, some we didn't, clashing opinions. We're gonna go over certain topics, certain things. Talk about just talk about movies. Talk about movies from last year, from the year of our Lord 2022. Let's go for it. Let's fire it up. Warren, you said you had a bunch of topics. Do you wanna anything particular you wanna lead us off with, or do you want me
Yeah,
to?
well, I just wanted to bring up real quick. I've loved how many single location films there were this year, and well, you know how much I love single location films, but I was loving it. I mean, The Whale, The Outfit, No Exit, Windfall, The Menu, kind of, Fall, kind of.
The Menu for sure.
There were,
Fall,
yeah,
yes.
a lot of good single location films. I loved it.
Yeah. Great year for that. Very cool. My favorite movie of the year might be a single location film. We'll
Oh,
see. Mm-hmm. Yep.
okay, okay.
Yep.
Stay tuned for that.
Uh-huh.
All right. How about most annoying characters of the year?
Okay.
I'll throw it out there just to start us. How about some Colonel Tom Parker from Elvis?
Oh
Tom
my
Hanks'
gosh.
character.
That that takes the cake. That takes the cake. Luckily, I'm not gonna slip into a deep depression because Tom Hanks was not nominated for supporting actor this year. I was horrified that he was going to be, but we got away. Elvis got some great nominations and it steered away from the bad nominations. I'm very happy Tom Hanks does not get awards recognition for this. That's just I think that's a personal vendetta I have more so. If you'd like to explain yourself and the annoyance, Warren, go for it.
The character is just not well thought out, doesn't serve a good purpose, and never does anything enjoyable or likable. I don't know. Also, Tom Hanks, like, I don't know, he just looks weird with the hair and makeup and everything. Doesn't help.
Yeah, he's pretty bad.
I'll throw out some other ones. I don't know if you guys have seen all these movies, but also some contenders. Max from Do Revenge. The director, I can't remember what his name is from The Bubble. Colin from Not Okay. And I just wrote down everyone in Amsterdam question mark.
I think that was just bad writing though with Amsterdam. Um, Will has not seen any of the movies listed. I've seen Amsterdam and Elvis. I think Amsterdam was just bad. I think the performances were just bad.
Maybe Taylor Swift's character in
It
Amsterdam.
it's something that like it's a movie that like I hated obviously coming out of the theater. And then Paul Schrader, who's a very good director and a great writer, he goes on rants on Facebook all the time. It's hysterical. He lacks so much awareness. It's great. But he was like, you know what's really bad about Amsterdam and really bad about movies in general? Whimsy. He's like, movies should not have whimsy. There should be nothing in movies that is whimsical. And I'm like, you know what? I disagree, Paul, but this applies to Amsterdam. He kind of got it. It's something that should have been a really sleek, mean, like hard-boiled noir kind of film, and it's just trying to be this comedy where like they sing and like they're trying to like stop the Nazis at the end in a comedic. It's really stupid. It's so bad. It doesn't. It's
Wait, this is just the producers, but worse. At least from what
no.
I'm hearing about Hitler and
No,
You know, springtime for
no,
Hitler in
because
Germany.
it's not about people putting on a play. It's a drama.
The producers is a drama.
Okay.
I found it very,
Well, those are my thoughts on
very
that.
moving.
It's
Anything
about
else, Martin?
De Niro preventing World War III.
Yeah. No,
Oh wait, no,
Mm.
it's between
it's
World War
between
One and
World
World
War
War
One.
Two,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so they're
yeah.
like, and the message of the movie is like, aren't Nazis bad guys? It's like, oh my gosh, aren't we past this? Like, why make a movie saying this? Because this is so stupidly obvious. It's so it's so blunt and up its own rear end that like it's just it reeks of smugness, man. Like I'm never watching another David O. Russell movie ever again.
Yeah, okay. You've got the Regal Pass, bro. You're gonna go
Nope.
see everything. You're gonna find hope and be like, well, maybe he turned around. And I want to be there for the redemption arc.
It's not just that he made a bad movie, it's that he's full of himself. And that's something I can't stand. Any annoying characters, Will?
Just everybody in the Northman, Jurassic World, Minions, and Thor Love and Thunder,
You're
but
wrong for Minions.
you
You're
know,
wrong.
Not Kevin.
I
They're lovable, bro.
am not. They are
Yes, they
not
They're
are.
so
lovable.
lovable.
Goofy
They
little
are
individuals,
boring
man.
and they
Stuart and
overstay
Why
their
you got
Bob
so
and
much hate
welcomes.
in your heart?
I don't have hate. I just don't have joy. There's just I don't I guess probably I would say what's his name? Give me one second. Um the quote unquote like colonizer from Black Panther 2. What was his name? What's his name
I
again?
mean Martin Freeman's
Martin
character.
Freeman?
Yeah, Martin Freeman. Absolutely
Yeah,
useless
for
in that
sure.
movie. Hated those scenes with him. Um let's see. There were Spider got on my nerves a little bit in
Oh, I
Avatar
forgot
2
about him.
for
Yes.
Yep.
Oh,
for some
such
time.
an annoying character.
Um let's see. In I'd say those ones really stand out a lot. And then Ambulance just falls flat. Like every time. Oh, and also everyone I think if I go with most annoying, it is Uncharted without a doubt for me. Because it's just nothing but who can double cross who more times in 30 minutes. And it just gets so old so fast. And then they have a ship fight with helicopters. And I've already lost so much joy at that point that I can't even enjoy that cool set piece. And they are I could say the other ones are bland or they overstay their welcomes, but Uncharted takes the annoying cake for
Man, and I
me.
thought Carter was the hater.
We're all haters here.
Did you watch
No, it
Uncharted?
wasn't great. They're just cracking me up with
Do you remember who we were by? We were by the Tom Holland fangirls behind, and we were by the
but that only
video
served to
game
enhance the
movie
film.
nerds in front of us.
That did enhance the experience.
No,
It
no, I was ready to
no,
throw
it was
hands.
hysterical.
It's like,
What?
Every twist,
Do you think that's his brother?
every twist,
Shut
like
up.
That's really what
dude.
makes movies like that. When you have super passionate fans
absolutely.
right behind you in your ear. Sometimes
It
that's
makes
No,
dumb
it makes
movies
the
like that.
experience,
Like
yeah.
not the
Marvel movies are
movie.
insufferable nowadays. Like
No, they're not. Get off. No, they're not. They
All right,
have
now
many
we're
redeeming
I'm
qualities.
back
talking
to
about the
inevitable
audience. I'm
Carter
talking about the
MCU
audience
rant.
experience. I'm sorry.
I like clapping during a
Why?
movie, Carter. Get off my back. Because it's fun.
At certain moments,
It's
yeah.
an experience. It's fun. It's just cool to see everybody in a room
Like
just
in game
kind
when
of
the
happy
portals open,
together.
everyone goes crazy.
It's just fun. No, when someone scores a touchdown, you don't go. You kind of well, if you're a Bills fan, you're shirtless in the snow. Like you kind of lose
Got a
your
point
mind a little
there.
bit, man. Come on.
Back on football.
I've seen you at sports events like clap your hands and like it's like come on, bro. Have a
Tonight's
heart.
debate:
Get out
has
of here.
Carter ever clapped?
Yes, when we were at the O's game and there was some there were like some plays that happened, he like stood up and was like, "Let's go!" Yeah, no, you got
I think we're
excited.
getting a little
You
off
called out.
target here.
A little bit.
We can treat movies like sporting events. It's fine. As long as everybody in the audience agrees. And you just happen to not be a part of the audience. What's the next category, Warren?
All right, Carter, I know you were talking about a couple you were thinking about. Do you want to bring up?
Sure. I would like to talk about my number 11th pick because it's a lead-in for my topic.
Okay.
So it's not in my top 10. This is 11th ranked for the year. It's a movie very near and dear to my heart. One of the first ones we saw, I think, in February. I was kind of reluctant to see it, but it won me over. And that is Ambulance.
Is it?
Yes.
Yup. Just just a phenomenal movie, truly. I'm not being ironic when I say this. I think this is Michael Bay's Hail Mary asking for forgiveness for the Transformers movies. And he's just returning to what he does best. Doing okay, yeah, get on Clash, who cares? He's going back to what he does best. And he's making stupid, like high mid-budget, nuts and bolts, but still very bold action movies. And this is like probably his best movie, which is insane.
Okay, I kid you not.
Yeah.
I wrote down some notes for like things that
Uh-huh.
were memorable this year. Literally, I wrote down one of my favorite quotes. "We don't stop." Danny Sharp, Ambulance.
Just it, but it doesn't. It's a movie that just goes and goes and goes, and it's hilarious, and it's so fun, and it's
So you're
so
saying it's
goofy
a
with its
fun
drone
ride?
shots. And then they go in and they paint it green, and then all of a sudden it's invisible to cops. I love it so much. It's just so awesome. And so and that leads into my topic of action movies. And I think action movies are coming back. I don't know if you guys would agree with this.
This is a
Yeah.
great
I
topic.
because
Yes,
for
yes.
for the past like 22 years, possibly. Obviously there's been outliers. There's been some really, really good ones. But people have been complaining about action movies and then saying they're just not original anymore. They're not as tense
They
anymore.
go suspense or something.
They're
Yeah.
written stupid. They're shot poorly. They don't, they're not as investing. And the past few years, I mean, again, there's been outliers, but the past few, like, especially this year in 2022, there were a lot of really good action movies, a lot of unique action movies that don't just fit into the action movie genre only. They, they, they tell action stories and they bring in just all kinds of elements, anything you can think of, and any genre that you can think of. There's action infused into it in certain movies this year, and I think it's awesome. I I think the action movie is on the rise again, and not just like necessarily like the big bold blockbusters and the large franchises that are expected to be you know huge in the box office, like I said, but like just the little tiny ones, the mid budgets, the trashy ones, the stupid 70s ones like Ambulance that are just they're there to just tell a simple action story and to do it really well. I think that's awesome. I think it's exciting to see.
Was Top Gun expected to be as big as it
I
was?
not at all, I don't think. I mean, it was expected to be big just because of like it's got that 80s nostalgia stuff,
I'm not
but
sure anything can expect to be that big, as
no
big as
one
it
expected
went.
it to be, top 10 highest grossing movie of all time,
Yeah.
which it is now.
Dang. And what was the first, Carter? Do you know if the first Top Gun was that
I
successful? Or was it
think it
just more
was.
like
I don't think it was like, I mean,
icon?
obviously it wasn't crazy like this, but it was one of the most popular movies of its year. And
Mhm.
it was just silly and goofy in a way that Maverick isn't. The first Top Gun has its charms. It's just like it's funny, it's meanders around, it's military propaganda again, but it's just about,
Mhm.
guys, just going to the beach, they play volleyball, they ride their motorcycles, and then they fly their planes for
Guys
an
being
hour and a
dudes.
half. And then there's a third act action scene where they gotta, kill people because that's what we do in action movies, right? It it's good. It's really good. And it does have more of a cult status classic it's not too much of a critical
Mhm.
darling, but it's a good movie.
I think the first time I realized that I wanted more pure action movies, but that were also high quality, because I do really enjoy the B-level action films, right?
Hmm.
They're fun. It's close. It's just cool to see something explode, a fast car, a fight scene, and a generic relatable action
If you
hero,
want
right?
that, boy,
But
do
there
I have
is
the movie for
something.
you. Have you watched Fistful of Vengeance?
No, that sounds like a new age
New
what's his
Age.
name? The dude who The dude who can't direct, but he did Million Dollar Baby.
It's not a Western. Fistful of Dollars is the
Okay.
Western Clint Eastwood.
Well, I know that's why I said it sounded like
Obviously,
I
it's a
knew what you were
take on
going.
that, but it's not. That
Okay.
was
Well, then how is it not a Western?
that was like
Sorry.
bottom 20 for you, right,
Anyway, it
Warren?
was
That's bottom two.
Ooh, dang.
dang. The first was when I saw Mad Max Fury Road the second time in
Mhm.
Daniel's theater, I was like, wow, you don't need to have secondary genres inside of an action film to make it extraordinarily compelling. The set designs themselves can be compelling. I'll be honest, I didn't enjoy a lot of the ambulance set design. I was not a fan of the drone shots and stuff like that. I found them incredibly annoying.
The drone shots were
But
the best part.
he's
I
trying
yeah,
out
I just
something
laugh
new.
at that. It's just so
I know
funny.
to a lot of people, it really
It
was, and that's cool.
went
He's really
over the one
they're
car and then it
trying
went
to
under the
do.
other, bro. That's awesome.
I know, but we had moves like that in Toy Story, man. Like
You don't love the drone shot overhead as
and
Jake Gyllenhaal leans out the window trying to shoot
no,
down the
He's gonna
helicopter
I
shoot down the
love,
above.
helicopter. Ugh.
but like I, I don't know, and Top Gun Maverick, because I was talking and thinking over this a little earlier today with Daniel of just what was my favorite movie of the year, like the movie that I would recommend to everyone, and then like what's the personal, like there's a personal favorite, and then there's the one that I would love other people to watch with me, right? And I think they could do it. And I think Top Gun Maverick for me is in that I want people to enjoy this film as much as I enjoyed this film because it's just a callback to action and fun, and it's got, cool little soundtrack. It's got there is the bad guy isn't even named. It's just there's just a country with some nukes and they gotta blow it up. And you have a few little secondary plots that get ironed out, but it's a great action movie. And it just took the US by storm. It took the world by storm. And honestly, mad props to Tom Cruise for his first $100 million weekend, right? Um, hopefully won't be his last because we've got Mission Impossible this year.
While we're on Top Gun, yeah, this was just awesome. Like you said, it's something you could recommend to anyone and just hope that they enjoyed as much as you did. And people are. I mean, that's why it's
Mm-hmm.
become the most popular movie of the year, probably. I think so. Um,
Yeah, over
Over
Avatar?
Avatar 2?
yeah. I mean, people are going to see Avatar just like
I
going to see
don't think
Avatar.
so.
But I feel like people go to see Avatar and then they're like, yeah, it was good as Avatar. People go to see Top Gun and it's getting a much more positive reception
I
than
don't know
Avatar
about that.
overall.
I think what the problem is people are viewing them for two completely different reasons
Are
as
they?
well, right? Because you
I
have
think it's
one,
just general audiences
yeah,
I
going
think
to the
Top Gun's more
movies
of like the
and
nostalgia and
coming out
like
and saying
introducing a new
Top Gun
audience.
is great and saying Avatar is Avatar.
I mean, Avatar has been more successful at least
Yeah, by a
financially.
little bit,
yeah. So there's
just
also
because of
that
China.
a little bit. Well, you got me there. Um,
Avatar took like a month, not like it took like it was like
oh, it took a month to get
no,
two
it was
Ah.
like
billion
2 weeks
dollars.
ago, so it was more than a month. It was like two, I don't know.
Crazy.
Yeah,
It
but
took like a it
it's
took like a month
still
to
A
pass Top
month,
Gun.
a month to
yeah, but it's
gross
still
$2
going.
billion, bro. And it
It's
is
still like one of the main movies out
exclusively
right now.
holding
Yeah.
down the
I
40X
understand, but
theaters and
I
stuff like that.
I have to look up the numbers, but I wouldn't be surprised if Top Gun has made more money in the United States than
That's
Avatar.
fair. I could definitely see that. But I do think action is going to just hit some strides and we're gonna see
Hopefully.
a well, I think the other thing about it is again, like I was joking about with the Oscars earlier, but to be completely serious, you don't really get recognized in the action world. Like action, comedy, horror, always
Yep.
ignored. Drama, bio, just done. Like that's what gets the Oscars because that's what's labeled as the harder acting or all this stuff, even though it can take an incredible amount to do either in all of their various forms. So hopefully with a greater public love for them, they'll start to get more, even though you said the Oscars don't matter, but more Oscar love as well. It would just be nice.
hmm And I don't want to say like the Oscars, you know, are meaningless. There's
I'm pretty sure you said that exact thing.
no, I'm just saying the Oscars don't add artistic merit to your film. And it shouldn't be something in mind you when you make a film.
But people
But it's
make
cool to see people.
biography
But it's
films for
it's
that
it's cool to see
specific
your,
reason.
some filmmakers you like go there and give speeches sometimes. And it's fun to get angry when filmmakers you like lose.
That is the most
Yeah.
fun.
Oh yeah. But like I would counter Warren's. I don't know if Warren, this is your belief, but it sounded like it was. Like that Top Gun Maverick is just going for the nostalgia. It's just a nostalgia piece trying to get in that audience because I think this is a little bit self-reflexive, reflective. At least the first 15, 20 minutes, which are my favorite part of the movie, personally. It's it's so good. It's I said this coming out of the theater and everyone laughed at me because it's something that's goofy, it's something to laugh at. But Tom Cruise really is one of my favorite actors. I don't know why. He's just got that star power. He's just got that. He can just carry a movie. He just steps onto the screen and he's there. You get it. Like it feels natural for him. It looks natural for him. And it's the first 15 minutes. It's so unfathomably egotistical. It's hysterical. It's just Tom Cruise, and he's doing the he's got to save this one section that tests a jet, which is, filling in for him, an actor, trying to save the movie industry, right? They're gonna cut it down. They're gonna say, "Oh, we're gonna use drones now," but he's like, "No, I'm Tom Cruise. I'm gonna single-handedly save the movie industry," and he flies the plane on Mach 10 and gets it going for another, couple
Wait, so
years,
AI are
and then
replacing
he passes the
actors?
I
torch to the next
mean,
generation. It's awesome.
I don't think that
It's
metaphor
great.
quite
I
works.
It's absolutely what they're going for.
no, it would work if it wasn't done better this year by other movies. Like Nope did that theme much
No, Nope
better.
doesn't have anything
If you're
about
gonna,
Nope isn't a Tom Cruise ego trip.
well, if that's
Also,
your
just
only
for the reference,
distinction
can't
for
stand Tom
movies that were
Cruise.
Tom Cruise ego chips of
We know.
passing the torch along, then yeah, you won. But if you're going about like saving film and a love for film, then you have The Fablemans and you have
I don't
Nope
think they
that
did it the
both convey
same
this
way.
exact
I
same
don't think
thing.
they did it the same way.
If you're going off of just passing a
It's
torch or
definitely
just
not the
using
same
an old
message.
thing, and
Exactly.
you're sure that Nope didn't have you're saying that a plane is like Tom Cruise and that he's saving the film industry by using a big plane.
Yes, because the general comes in and says, "We're shutting this down. It's pointless." And Tom Cruise says, "No, it's not. Look, I can drive it really fast. Isn't that cool?" And we're like, "Yo, that's cool." And so they keep it going because Tom Cruise
So
saved
was
it.
Okay,
Lightning
for the
McQueen
record,
saving
one,
the
it's not
oil
cool,
industry when
but
he was
Yeah,
driving
it
faster?
is.
Like,
okay, to
And
clear
then he
this up,
goes and he crashes, and then he's like, "Where am I?" And the kid says, "Earth." It's so funny.
Will,
It's
I think
best part
you're
of the
kind
movie.
of talking about movies that are just like a general love for cinema, whereas Top Gun is more about like action movies and saving like the classic.
bro, do you ever stop reading into movies and just enjoy them while you're watching them?
Bro, why are
Like,
you on this pod?
I
Get
have
out of our
not
podcast, Will.
no.
Let's move
It's
on.
like, dude, you just be like, nah, he's in a plane, and what's cool is that he looks like a spaceman, and he's going at Mach 10. That's what's cool about the movie. Not that Tom Cruise is saving
You know
the
what's cooler?
industry.
What's the
Jake
Tom Cruise
Gyllenhaal
is
driving
going
an
but
ambulance,
fast.
that's the
shooting
point
out
of the
the window,
scene. Why is
driving
it
90
why is
miles
the
an hour.
scene in the movie if that's not what it's saying, if that's not what it's commentating on?
To be cool.
Yeah. Moving on. What we got next?
Y'all crazy.
Do you guys have a favorite action scene of the year?
Oh, favorite action scene?
Yep. To close out our
Hmm.
little action movie discussion.
I would just go back to Top Gun
Yeah.
Maverick, and I would do Mav's test run
Yes.
of when he has to of when he takes the
Wait,
plane.
now you're
and
going
does
back to this again?
Well, it's
no, not the opening scene, his test run scene where he has to prove to the
Okay,
general.
okay.
Where the kids
Yeah,
they can't they
the
keep
time trial.
they're not able to do it in under 2 minutes 30 seconds, and then it's like,
Yeah.
all right, we're not
Yeah.
gonna do it. And he's
He does
like, again,
2:25 or whatever it is,
egotistical
yeah.
maniac. I love him. He goes under the general's nose and says, "All right, I'm gonna fly it that fast," and he does, and it's just edited so well. It's so
And like, dude, my
cool.
hands
Yeah.
were sweaty. Like, it like there was it's crazy too because there was nothing technically on the line right then. No, he wasn't gonna die. There wasn't this. There weren't that as big stakes as later in the movie, but that's where I cared about the film a lot more than at most other times in the movie. But I think that's probably my greatest or my favorite action scene.
I think my favorite action scene has got to be something from the Batman. I'm gonna go with the hallway fight in the Batman, where it's completely dark and you only see the flashes from the gunshots as they're jumping around. You only see like every few tenths of a second. That was fantastic.
I have a major problem with that scene, and it's very, very. I think you guys will probably agree with me when I say it, and it's the fact that it's in the preview.
Yeah.
So you guys are
it took away a
so
lot of it
ridiculous
from
with
me.
your trailers and spoilers. And
I mean,
previews
No. It's just I'd seen it then.
So
I'd
that
seen it
makes
like
it
a
better.
dozen times by that time. No, it doesn't. It made it old for me. And I was like, there, right there.
well, weirdly enough, the car chase was in the preview,
Car chase was great as well.
and the car chase is
Okay.
I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna
Oh,
have a
then the
tie, but the
footsteps
car chase is
upside
tied for
down.
me.
So good.
Yeah, it like the car chase is tied for number
That
one for
did
me.
something
Like
for me.
it's
Ba, ba,
so
ba,
good, and
ba.
It's Batman
it's
time.
of all the times in the movie where the score, for all the times in the movie the score feels a little, feels heavy-handed. This is the one time where it's like it's so deserved, and it's just blasting at full volume, and it feels earned. It's just awesome. Like there's the tanker trucks swerving everywhere, and then he slams through the concrete pipe. It's just awesome.
Lead actor nominee right there, Colin Farrell.
Yup, he's great in it.
I just the Batman to me was a little too long. Good. Don't get me wrong. It was good. But for me, it's just a little too long. But no, I would pick the car chase over the hallway fight. And I don't know why one still held magic for me, but not the entire chase scene, but definitely the upside down car shot with the
Oh
boots
yeah.
looked so
Well,
good.
this might be a topic for another time, but it kind of seems like you two, because you're so anti-television, pro cinema, it almost seems like, ironically, you guys might have a shorter attention span.
That is
That is
100% false, Warren. I
incorrect.
can
Every long
promise
movie you see, you guys are like, "Oh, that was too long. I wish it were half an hour shorter."
Warren, when have I ever said
I'm
that?
not on Twitter.
Will just said that.
When have I ever said
I'm
that?
pretty sure you've said that at least twice on this podcast. Not this episode, but
For Wakanda Forever, because that movie sucked. But what else? What else?
I don't
I
remember.
haven't said it for anything
I've been
else.
hearing this a lot from you two.
No, wrong. Wrong.
Warren, I'm not the one on Twitter.
Yeah, but I'm not the one
I
saying
think my
these movies are
attention
too long.
span is just fine.
5 of my favorite 10 movies this year are over. That's not true.
Oh wow, the
A
story
decent chunk of
changes.
four of my favorite 10 movies this year are over two
That's
and a
not
half
even
hours.
half.
Okay.
It's 40%.
But
Warren
does
just
that
thinks
give
he's
me a
elite
low
'cause he
attention
watches
span
TV
because
'cause he
40% of my
binges.
favorite of my top 10
I'm just saying
are
it's
over 2.5
observation that
hours?
popped up. I'm hearing this a lot from you two. Just we'll see.
You like
We'll see if
T,
it proves
bro.
true or not.
It has not proved true. I can sit still for quite
Same
some
here.
time. I'll tell you that.
All right. Well, now that that debate is somewhat settled, what's your favorite dance scene of the year?
I would like to say that the average running time for
Here we
movies in my
go
top
again.
10 is 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Okay,
Yeah. And
that's higher than I expected.
and my favorite action scene of the year was the naked volcano fight from The Northman.
Not this again.
That's it. Just wanted to finish off that segment.
There are 0 dance scenes I cared about this year, unless you all remind me of one.
I would like to forget about the Northman. And
Oh, what's his face and his dog? Banshees of Inisherin.
Dancing with your dog, are you?
Yep, done.
I was gonna bring up the credits scene of White Noise. It's just people dancing in a grocery store for like a good, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes. It's fantastic. People are throwing grocery bags all over the place and pulling food off the shelves and just having a good old time. It's the credits roll and roll and roll and roll and roll.
NPC behavior, as Will would say, just a phenomenal end to a phenomenal movie.
It was fantastic.
It really was. As much as I want to go with the fire dance from the Northman, I can't. I'm gonna go with the scene from Bardo. There's really no
Oh,
significance to it. It's just them dancing. It's awesome. So Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths is the latest movie from Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu. He's the director of Beautiful, Birdman, and most recently, besides Bardo, The Revenant. So he comes back from his 7-year hiatus and makes a phenomenal movie about a journalist, documentarian in Mexico. And there's just about the midpoint of the movie, they just have this like 10-minute dance scene where the camera goes around and around all in one take, and it's so well choreographed, and it's just
wait,
so much
spinning
fun to
camera?
see.
I might
Beyond
have to
that,
watch
Jordan.
this.
Yep.
Oh, oh,
It's great,
okay.
and
You have me intrigued.
it goes crazy hard. Like there's it does. They're like
That's enough to make me want to watch it right there.
they're going and they're like they're doing tangos and then like goes slow motion and it's kind of just like just him and everyone else is frozen. Just awesome stuff. Just a delightful movie that I highly recommend and I think is very underseen this year. And I'm kind of disappointed it didn't get more Oscar nods. But
Now, when you're saying he's dancing around and everyone else is frozen, is it like that Acme GT from a few years ago? The two guys who would dance around the hat and the hat would stay still? Is that okay? Never mind.
never seen that.
Never
But
mind.
Wait. You're telling us that we have low attention spans and you watch America's Got Talent?
Hey,
did you hear what
let's
Joseph
let's not
watches?
bash a great talent show.
Felt like that was a topic that needed to be addressed because there were a lot of good dance scenes this year. Any else?
Honorable mention to the Woman
Yes.
King. There's a pretty great dance scene in that one.
Favorite standout performance? Because I am locked into Barry Keoghan from Banshees of Inisherin as Dominic as probably my favorite role of the entire year. Just
All right.
it might be my favorite movie of the year. I'm still deciding because it's like I feel so many different things about so many of the different movies that come out. So thank you all for pushing me towards the theater more. It's been awesome to have these talks and all the McDonald's conversations with y'all. But I'm really gunning for Barry Keoghan on this. It's just it's funny, it's gut wrenching, it's perfectly timed. There's so much to his facial expressions and the way he carries himself. His mannerisms are so good. And I really didn't know that he could act like that. And I was just blown away. So yeah, out of all the movies I've seen, Barry Keoghan, Banshees of Inisherin, Dominic.
He's
You
the one
guys?
redeeming quality of that movie, which says a lot.
I mean, if he has your stamp of approval, I'll take it, which is really awesome. I'm glad you feel that way about him. That's cool. Because it's either that or Nick Cage from The Unbearable Weight of Awesome Talent, and
That was pretty great.
Pedro Pascal. Oh, we'll get into that movie later too.
All right, we'll go ahead and give you. I don't have like a definitive numbered list, but just a few performances.
Yeah, go for
that
it.
were up there, my
Awesome.
favorites. Definitely Austin Butler and Elvis. Hope he
Mhm.
wins Best Actor.
Really? Okay, cool.
Fantastic. Definitely one of my favorite performances there was Hong Chow in The Whale, and she got nominated for supporting actress, so she's the person I'm rooting for in that category. Mia Isaac for Don't Make Me Go, Mark Rylance The Outfit, Jason Segel Windfall, Leslie Manville Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, Carter's favorite movie, Theo Rossi for Emily the Criminal, Zoe Deutsch The Outfit, Jenna Ortega The Fallout, Anna Diop The Nanny, and Tuso and Beidou from The Woman King. Top few stood out to me from the year.
Cool.
Solid. I'll run through mine real quick. I got a decent amount. But I'll start with Aubrey Plaza from Emily the Criminal, Adam Driver from White Noise, Robert Pattinson from The Batman. I thought he was awesome.
Yeah.
I thought he did great. Might be the best Batman, if I'm being honest.
I think he's.
I think I
he has
agree.
the most potential development with him.
yeah,
I think it'll be great.
I think he
really
gets it.
do.
It might be partly the direction, which is awesome. But
Most
like
believable
Matt Reeves,
Batman.
yeah,
And the tone of it too helped him
Yeah.
out a lot.
Uh-huh.
He's done so well since Twilight. Really, I know that sounds weird, but really to not to stay away from being typecast is so cool. And to keep pushing himself as an actor. I think he's done phenomenally well.
Hey, that's Cedric Diggory you're talking about.
Yep. He was also in like Lighthouse and all, like he's an actor, and he does like some weird roles, and he's not afraid to try a direction that no one thinks he can do. 10 out of 10. Like I'm hoping he's around for a long time.
He will be. He's got Good Time, High Life. He's going to be the new Bong Joon-ho movie coming 2024, 2025.
Oh,
Yep, yep, yep. It's
let's go.
hyped for that. Um, just continuing, Austin Butler and Elvis was just awesome. If it wasn't for another guy on the lead actors, then I would say Butler definitely deserves it.
Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
Mm.
Gabriel LaBelle for Fabelmans, just so good. Bjork for The Northman, she was awesome. Tom Cruise, not kidding, for Top Gun, he was just so good. Saoirse Ronan for See How They Run.
What about Saoirse Ronan?
Yep.
Yes.
Daniel Gimenez Cacho, he was the lead actor in Bardo. Barry Keoghan for Banshees, obviously. Daniel Kaluuya for Nope. A really understated, really nuanced performance that I think didn't get enough attention this year, but he was awesome.
Everybody was ready for a more visceral performance, I think, from him. So
Yeah,
when
I
that wasn't the
think.
direction of the film,
Yeah.
they kind of got the expectation brought it down more than the performance.
Uh-huh. He
So
was kind of the
I see what you're
antithesis
going.
to Keke Palmer's performance,
Mhm.
who just two great performances. She was also awesome.
And
But
what it was one of the
it's a
Franco
sibling
brothers,
dynamic, which
right?
is awesome. What
Yep.
It was one of the Franco brothers as well. What's his name? Uh,
was
some,
it? Who played
yeah,
Angel, the
yeah.
video guy?
Was
Yeah.
it?
No,
I
it's
want to
not a
say.
Franco.
I
Because
don't think it was a Franco.
yeah, I thought I
I'm
said
looking
this,
this
but
up
I
right
was
now.
wrong the entire
Yeah,
time.
yeah, you just thought it was a Franco.
Yeah.
It's Brandon Perea. Yeah, Brandon Perea. Sorry,
Yeah,
but yeah, Brandon Perea also does a really good job of being that
yeah.
standout
And
role.
Steven Yeun in Nope, Steven Yeun, or
Oh
however,
yeah,
he was just
Jupe.
Nope was awesome. Yeah, Jude. My top four: Kate Blanchett, obviously in
Yep.
Tar,
Yeah.
Brendan Gleeson, Carrie Condon in Banshees, is my second favorite performance of the year. I think she is just phenomenal, just knocks it out of the park. And Colin Farrell is my favorite performance of the year. I think he's on another level. His best performance ever, I think, which is saying a lot.
Oh, I also is it Kei Hui Kwan
Yeah,
from Everything Everywhere All at Once. I
yep,
think to really and just I love the interviews that I've seen with him where he's just such a
Yeah.
sweet guy.
he is.
Yeah.
And like to hear how he kind of stayed away from acting for a little while because there wasn't room for the Asian population inside of film for a little bit, but he's like,
Well,
okay,
more than a little while.
times now. Oh yeah, because he was just gone, and apparently him and if you've seen all this stuff with him and Brendan Fraser has been really touching. Apparently they've been close a little bit, and they both said to each other, and they were crying because it was like we're both still here, and Brendan Fraser saying it through everything he was in through in his personal life, and he just got typecast as this B tier bomb movie guy, so just don't hire him. But he loved doing film, and so he's finally back, and it was really cool. And the Everything Everywhere All at Once cast got a picture with him as well. He's not even in the movie; he has nothing to do with it, but they just love him, and so I love him too. And I do think it's because there's a lot of to talk a little bit about Everything Everywhere All at Once did so much for me as a viewing experience, especially with me and my mom, and just like these little nuanced things that I would see from like my grandmother and her side of the family. It really spoke to me, and it was such a treasure. The Daniels is they're not called the Daniel brothers; they're just the Daniels, right, Carter?
They're not brothers.
Oh, they're
They're
not.
one is named Daniel Scheinert and one is named Daniel Kwan.
Oh, that's
And they're
cool.
they decided to be quirky and go by the Daniels,
That's cool. Well, I
which
mean,
is cool.
I think the Daniels did an awesome job with this. I still haven't gotten around to seeing Swiss Army Man, but I do want to give that a watch because I've heard it's not what you think it is, and it does a little bit of expectation subversion, and it's got a good emotional heartbeat to it. But Everything Everywhere All at Once, all the people in it just really pulled weight. And while I think that Carrie Condon
Yeah.
did oh my gosh, blown away. I do think she could have gotten beaten out by Michelle Williams if Michelle Williams had been nodded for supporting. It would have been close
I don't think
anyway.
she's better. I think
Really?
yeah. I think Angela Bassett is leading
Mhm.
the category for leading
Okay.
the front running for supporting actress for some reason.
Okay.
But
For very good reason.
not a good reason. But Stephanie Sue got in
She
for she
did,
got an Oscar
yes.
nom, which
Yeah.
is awesome because she hadn't we talked about this if you listen to the Oscar podcast, but she hadn't
Not yet.
really got anything so far, and it was kind of looking like she wasn't going to get anything again. But her and Jamie Lee Curtis got a nomination, which is very, very cool.
Oh, wait. Oh, Jamie Lee Curtis did? I didn't
Yes.
Yeah.
see that. Okay, because I love her a little bit more than Stephanie Sue, but
Really? Okay.
a little bit more. I just think that she adds that quirky, and because with Jobu, you're supposed with Joy or Jobu, you're supposed to be that quirky out character, but you don't expect the IRS tax lady to do it. And I think that the casting by the Daniels was terrific, and everybody fell into place. And of course, Michelle Yeoh is wonderful and a star stealer in the film. And you've got, the other extras of Raccacoonie, but
Of course.
yeah, I almost forgot about everything over all once, but Kehu Khan, if I hope I'm saying that right, if he listens to this podcast one day, it just stole my heart this year as well, with alongside of Barry Keoghan. And I think they both deliver very unconventionally sensitive characters, if that makes sense. Where Wayman's character is the whole, as we talked about how we view movies, right? And I view it as, I want to see me. I want someone to describe me to me. I don't know if that's self-centered or if I'm getting that across right, but I'm not looking for like a new experience. I'm looking to discover more about myself when I watch a film. And Everything Everywhere All at Once and Banshees of Inisherin just did that. And those two characters especially just hit home some hard lessons and teach you a little bit more about kindness and love. I just thought it was great. So yeah.
I will say you brought up several names for the supporting actress category, and personally, I think it would be an utter travesty if Hong Chau doesn't win that category, because she
Okay.
brings such a grounded and tough love to the character that it's hard to imagine anyone else doing. One of my favorite performances of the year for sure. I really hope she wins that.
Okay.
Cool.
That'd be cool. I'd be very happy if she won that.
I think everyone's on board with just,
Just not Angela Bassett.
well, giving the whale
She's my second choice.
love. What's Angela Bassett from? Do I know this?
Wakanda
A
Forever,
small movie called Wakanda Forever. Yeah.
Oh,
which is like
she's not even the best actress in the movie.
Okay. Anyway, so let's move on.
anyways, let's move on.
Favorite moments. Any random moments? You
I
want to throw out
will.
there? Okay, I put that under favorite quotes. That was fantastic. Oh, gotta love Namor.
I'm gonna bring up the cheeseburger making scene from the menu.
Ew. All right.
Really?
Okay,
I
yeah,
liked it.
That's a good one.
I thought it was a fun little scene at the very end. Just like, how does she win? And it's just, again, I like seeing the small observances of everyday life. And while the menu doesn't have a lot of that, right, because it's a crazy psychopath murder movie, but it is just that sometimes when you're doing something, you forget the reason you love to do it, right? And I was listening to the one podcast that I used to listen to, because now they've disbanded, called They're Just Movies. And at the very last thing they said, I'm really going to enjoy being able to watch movies and just talk to you guys about them, because we don't have to save them for a podcast or something. And I'm not saying you guys do that all the time or anything, but it did hit me a little bit of just, yeah, there is magic to just talk, just seeing something and talking about it. You don't lose that. And for him, it was that, man, somebody remembered and someone reminded me why I love what I do. And I thought that was a really cool scene.
Keep that thought in mind.
That's
Which one?
ominous.
Because I agree with that thought wholeheartedly. I just personally, I don't think the menu really delivered. But
Pun
I
intended.
get the love for the menu. I do. Nah, I get enjoying the menu. I really do. It wasn't for me, unfortunately.
Okay, sure.
How about the everything bagel scene from Everything Everywhere All at Once?
So good.
Which
But-
one?
If you really put everything
Yeah,
on
that
a
one.
bagel,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. See how they run the car going past the screen again when she's following him to the mansion.
Or the ending
Oh,
Like where they're all standing around drinking and they're just like staring at the one guy.
mhm.
So funny.
How about the Duel with Death from Puss in Boots: The Last
Oh my
Wish?
gosh. Okay, are we talking about this movie yet? Because Carter, that movie's a lot higher up than you put it on
Oh,
my
it is?
list. It's a
Okay. Well, coming out
lot
of the
higher up.
okay. Have you like dwelt on it and
Yeah,
okay.
I think
See,
it does.
okay.
I'm
It
really
lingers in
glad.
your
Y-
mind.
It
It like stays
honestly,
with you.
of the
It's
top
a great
movies that you
movie.
put on my list,
Yeah.
Fableman's probably 10th. And it's not because it's the worst film, it's just
Ooh.
the one I've dwelt on the least. I do
Ah,
think if
Okay.
I take scene for scene, cast for cast, line for line, it is probably critically the best movie I've seen this year. But it doesn't stick with me the way a lot of these other films have.
Okay.
And
That's fair. I was just going by like
yeah,
what I thought your
that's the
number rating
beauty
would
of it
be
too.
no,
because
you're
I can't
good.
get inside your
Yes.
mind, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
It is the beauty of it. Yeah, I agree,
Dude,
man.
when you meet him, I think that anxiety scene too, especially for our generation who doesn't vocalize a lot of stuff and it's not really become normal yet to talk about it, get it out there. And of course, I'll tout religion as a way to deal with anxiety and close friendships and the avoidance of social media. But I love when the one dog character just puts his head on the puss's lap and it's that calming. And I think they nail it right there of just dealing with anxiety. And it's like sometimes you need a friend. And sometimes that friend isn't there to solve your problem. They're just there to listen to it. Oh, dude. That
Kind of
movie's
on the
Yeah.
so good.
opposite end of
Okay, sure, yeah.
a related polar opposite, you might say.
Mhm.
Well, this wolf who's essentially a metaphor for death, or who literally is death.
He is death incarnate.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just when they're fighting, it looks so cool with the
It
red
does.
eyes and the
Hmm.
It
animation
does.
style and his weapon clicking together and pulling apart, and he's spinning it around and throwing it, and just oh, it just looks so good.
And then you have all the side characters who it's a pretty short movie, isn't it? But for the entirety of the cast, they develop everyone so quickly and so well. Like Florence Pugh with Goldilocks and the Three Bears, they don't get a ton of screen time, but their story beats are there. They're quick, they're concise, and they mean something. They set forward the rules of the world and the dimension that they're going through really well. And yeah, sorry, I could go on and on about that film.
No, that's why we're here.
Um, the ending of the unbearable weight of massive talent when it cuts from being the life of Nick Cage and everybody to the movie
Yeah.
of what they went
Mhm.
through. I
Hmm.
thought that was very fun. Okay, I'm gonna also sound like a hypocrite, but it's just certain scenes from previews lose their magic and some scenes don't. I don't know why, but the Northman
Oh
does
no.
have that
Why are we
spear
bringing this up
catch scene,
again?
Yes,
and
it
that
does.
is awesome.
Oh,
When he catches, he's like, nope. Oh, just chucks it back. Dude, that was a testosterone fest. That was awesome.
oh, now you like it. You didn't like it so much when it was in Rings of Power, did you?
That's because Rings of Power sucks, but not as much as
It's
Northman.
the exact same thing. And you were harping on and on about how terrible it was and how unrealistic it was.
Because it didn't. Okay, because when the person who's catching it wasn't 6'4" and jacked out
Okay,
the
but the guy in Northman who's catching
wazoo.
this is like 20 years old. The guy in Rings of Power is like 3,000 years old.
Dude, yeah, but it's
He's talking about in real life, Warren.
Alexander Skarsgård is beefy,
The big
bro.
boy.
Oh my gosh, this guy is huge. The Skarsgårds are just big dudes. So yeah, I thought that was a cool scene. I've talked a lot, Carter. You come on, say something, man.
It's hard to narrow it down for me.
All right, well, while you're going, I'll share one more. The tricycle scene from Despicable Me.
Yeah,
It's a good
it's
scene.
a good scene. The whole
Wait,
movie from
which
just
scene
the
is
whole
that?
movie from Minions. Let's be real.
The tricycle scene when what's his face is tricycling across the country.
Oh,
Across the
yeah,
country
yeah.
and jumps the ramp.
Yeah. Well, Will Carter's thing, I'll throw another out there.
Go for it.
Scarlet Witch attacks. Oh,
Which part? Because for me, the red
Early.
mist when she's inside the brain of Xavier is my favorite of all of them.
oh, that was fantastic. Just because it's so unexpectedly quick.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't think her head was
It's
gonna come out at all.
She
It
just
was
snaps and it's over.
it was so good. It was so awesome because, it's the internet's being the internet and being stupid. And for months and months and months, everyone's like, who's going to be the cameo in Doctor Strange 2, and they come out and they bring out the 5 cameos or whatever, and then they kill them in 2 minutes later, and it's awesome.
It was great.
That made me want to clap in a Marvel movie because it's like, screw you, you stupid nerds.
I
Made me
don't think,
happy,
but
made
I
me
don't think it's
smile.
And we're
that.
back
I
to the
think,
MCU
but I don't think that's a
again.
bad thing. I think everyone like was like, "Oh, that was crazy." I didn't expect that to
Everyone is
happen.
just
You
so
know?
shocked in the
Yeah,
theater too.
it
Uh-huh.
was great. Great decision. All right, Carter, we'll let you make some
I got so
talking
many. I
into
could
the
pick
things.
anything from
Go
from
for it then.
Banshees or, you know, eh, really anything from Banshees or Puss in Boots could be in there. But
Yeah.
from something we haven't really talked about, I'll say I really liked the knife fight from Decision to Leave and the mountain headlight scene from Decision to Leave. I know you guys don't know what that means, but I like the box cutter scene from Emily the Criminal, where she something happens with the dog. Should we let's say minor spoilers. We should have said this early on, and we will say early on if you're listening, obviously. But minor spoilers for pretty much every movie we talk about. But like in Emily the Criminal, Emily gets her dog, her friend's dog, who she's supposed to watch, stolen because she makes a mistake, and it is tense, man. It is like it is nerve-wracking. Great scene. The first party from Babylon and the cocaine dance. That was almost my favorite dance scene. A lot of good dance scenes this year, man. And the ending of Tar, which I won't spoil yet. We'll get to that.
I might need to talk to you about that in a
Oh yeah.
non-spoiler context because
Oh
I
yeah.
was extremely confused.
Yep.
But that might also be because, yeah,
Because it's
we'll
just
talk about that more later.
goofy.
I will say, from the Batman, none of the scenes that really I think the movie wanted me to go, there's the scene. I felt a ton except for the boots one. But the one where I really actually liked was one of the
Batman
final
and Boots: The
scenes.
Last Wish.
Was like the very last scene where it's Batman completely dirty, but in the daylight.
Mhm.
And we've seen so much
Sunrise.
in the
On the
Nolan
roof.
films of just this Batman is he's the Batman of the night and stuff like that. And to bring him into the light, I thought was a very bold decision because usually if you take a character who's just been gritty and stuff like that and you show him in the daytime, it's like, oh, this dude looks stupid. But I thought it was earned. I thought it was really well done, and it stuck with me after that. Like that didn't feel off, and I was surprised that it didn't feel off.
So I'll say this much. My favorite moment of the year, and I can't really say what it was because it would be a major spoiler, but it was something that happened in Don't Make Me Go. And you'll know if you watch it.
Finally, I'll say the David Lynch scene slash John Ford scene from The Fablemans at the end is just
Is that the one
awesome.
in the? Is that the locker?
No, that's where
Or
it's at the very end when he
He's
goes and
meeting with the
talks
director.
to the
oh yeah,
best
yeah, yeah.
director of all time.
And then the camera fix at the very end of the film. Oh
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
so good. I think from the Fablemans, I do prefer the locker scene over
Okay.
over that scene. I don't know. Again, it's from the whole I want you to show me something about myself that I didn't know. And I love the way that the bully character would. Why did you show me like that? Why did you put me up on a pedestal when I've been nothing but mean to you? And the
Yeah.
character says, maybe I did to make my movie better. Maybe I did because you want you to like me. I don't know. It's so good because it's so crystal clear what a high schooler would do. They're going to have this conflicting emotions, but they know that it'll be received well. So just run with it and see what happens. And just whatever consequence happens, it happens. And I thought it was great. And again, just the directing chops, the directing wisdom behind Spielberg to know what theme of the movie he wanted to carry on and not get it lost along the way was fantastic. He wanted to prove that movies matter, or that really, I guess to go a step beyond that, is that the art of storytelling can't be lost and it has to be preserved and we have to go on because it's what keeps us alive and thriving. And as a librarian, I completely agree. But I think that scene to me meant a little more.
Well, since we're on the topic of Fablemans, my
Mhm.
favorite moment from the Fablemans was when he's making the Boy Scout movie and the boy just walks off in the distance because he's so lost in character.
Mhm.
That was great.
So
Oh,
good. Great moment.
one more scene from the Fablemans too, because this is probably another standout performance from me is oh, what's Seth Rogen. Good job. It's especially on when he buys him the camera
Yeah.
before he drives away. Such a heartfelt scene, really well done. He pulled his weight, he did his job, and if you wanted, you could call him like the weakest link of the film, but it's such a high
No
bar.
way. Yeah.
Well, who's the weakest link?
I don't think there is one.
That's fair. But I think it just he really added to the movie in a way that I haven't really seen Seth Rogen do. I haven't seen all of Seth Rogen's films, but from what I have seen, it's always like a character who could be there, couldn't be there, could just been played by someone else. But he was unique. He added to it. Loved him.
Yeah, so how about maybe not necessarily the best moments of the year, but how about some of the like weird or memorable or just miscellaneous moments that you enjoyed this year in cinema?
The cocaine dance from Babylon. That's gonna stick with me for a while. The it was in the trailer, I guess. The barf scene from Triangle of Sadness is amazing.
I thought we were talking about scenes that didn't work.
Are we talking about scenes that didn't
Just
work?
just stuff that are memorable for weird
Just
reasons.
stuff that's memorable
I'll-
for
I'll
weird
throw
reasons.
one out there.
Go for it.
When we went, early this year we went to a Frigo was running a Monday mystery movie thing, and so Carter and I went to this, and I will never forget the look on Carter's face when we were so sure that this movie was going to be The Fablemans. Carter was so excited, and when the title slide drops of Spirited, just the look on Carter's face. He has to sit through 2 hours of a Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell musical. Oh,
A moment that stuck with me from Spirited is when Ryan Reynolds died. That was awesome. I loved that. Gets hit by a truck.
Where's my spoiler alert, Carter?
that's the major spoiler.
Don't watch Spirited. It's not worth it. I did you a favor by spoiling it. Stay away.
I can't really think of anything that was weird or stood out. I mean, Avatar, Way of Water is just it's not an overload. It's a love letter to visual effects, I think. And with that much tender love and care, I'm excited to see what motion capture can achieve and what computer generated stuff can achieve. Practical is still very near and dear to my heart, as seen with Top Gun Maverick, but I loved how weird some of the animal designs were, but my brain after a little while just went, no,
Well,
that's real.
I'll bring this up when we discuss After Way of Water more in depth.
Okay.
But
Sure.
some of those creatures are suspiciously similar to some from Subnautica. Just saying. So, maybe not as original as.
I
No,
was
those are great.
anticipating that. I was going to ask you something about that when we did our podcast on that. We've not gotten to.
How about the Snoop Dogg cameo as a vampire hunter in Day Shift?
Did not see Day Shift. Is that the Jamie Foxx movie?
Yeah, you didn't miss much.
Okay.
Or one of the scenes that stood out this year, a dialogue between two doors and Breathing Happy.
Solid.
Or maybe George Clooney coming back doing a rom-com, Ticket to
No.
Paradise,
No,
throwback.
no.
Um,
Rocks. I'm gonna
I'll say
Rocks.
I'll say the Bjork scene from The Northman. That just so good. Sorry guys, it's just that good. There's a couple goofy scenes in Bardo that are hard to describe. Really anything from White Noise it's just
Oh,
been
yeah.
lashed on my brain this year.
Just
And
the background dialogue is so good.
yeah, it is, man. We'll get to that. And
The white noise and white noise.
yup, that's all it is. The monologue from Pearl. I don't even think I don't even have a love for Pearl the way that a lot of people do, but it's stuck with me oddly for some reason.
I have not seen the movie, but I have strangely seen the last minute. And the
Okay.
ending is pretty cool. That kind of stuck out.
The credits,
Maybe
where
it's
the
the
credits
credits.
go over her face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Creepy.
Mhm.
Good. Mia Goth kills it in that role though.
There was a lot to me from Everything Everywhere All at Once that I would just say is weird, and I loved it.
Well, the whole movie's weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I would say the whole every time where they have to do something odd, and I mean every time they
Ooh.
have to do something odd in order to jump to the other dimension and gain the skills was fantastic. The rocks, I think going once
Oh
with you guys
yes,
and once with my
yes.
mom, and just the because we jested a little bit about the silence in a film, but that really is so abrupt, where it just goes to that, and then you're just reading the dialogue of two rocks. And the first time I see this, I'm just crying. And I love that I'm crying. I love that they can get this goofy and touch so many emotional heartstrings because they have put time and their own love and their own effort into such a product as this. And then to just also be able to share that moment with my mom, because again, it's not so much movies as it is how far we can take the art of storytelling and pass it on to one another.
Yeah,
And then also just like the confetti death in Everything Everywhere all at Once, the montage of um Michelle Yeoh's character, I forget what's the name, Evelyn, of Evelyn's faces as they do like a bunch of different ones, and the hug between her and the daughter. But it doesn't. I really can't go on and on about the film, but I think that Everything Everywhere at Once did weird very well.
yeah, it was
Every single second.
it was rock solid. Speaking of sharing experiences with friends and family, um, when we all dressed up, went to see Minions: The Rise of Gru.
I
What a
don't
moment!
I don't regret that at all.
We were not we were not theater terrorists, to clarify. We were very respectful,
But
but
everybody
it
who
was
saw
a
us, yeah,
blast.
dude, everyone who saw us was like, Minions? And we're like,
Minions.
We were
know
like,
it.
yeah.
It's so funny.
That was quite the experience. That was a blast.
Oh, Nick Cage smooch good. I thought was a great scene. I wasn't ready for it. I thought it was hilarious. I have no idea how to think about it, but I love it to bits when Nick and Nikki just like Nick Cage smooch good. So funny, man. Movie should have had more Nicky scenes. Should have had more alternative Nick Cage scenes.
Definitely.
Oh, I've got one. How about the opening and closing of The Wonder? That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. Such a neat, like, people have been ragging on it, and I think it's great. I think it is self-aware, and it's just another story about telling stories, kind of like The
Yeah,
Fablemans.
it's just
Not
such a
quite as good
fun
as
way
The
to frame
Fablemans.
it. Yeah.
It is, yeah. And it's like, it's not something that should be done for every movie,
No, no.
obviously, but it works so well in the context of what the story of The Wonder is. Loved The Wonder.
Carter, what were some of your favorite scores this year?
Um, so some of my favorites were, I really liked Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio by, I think that's Alexandra Desplat. I don't know how to say his name, sorry, but he's a great composer. Pearl, The Fablemans, Nope, The Wonder, Banshees of Inisherin. Um, The Batman I really liked too. Also, The Northman and Blonde were all
Okay.
great
It seems like
scores
you
from
have a
this year.
really love-hate relationship with the Batman score.
It's like 80% love, 20% hate. I think
Okay.
there are certain times in the movie where
Too
it's just
repetitive?
heavy-handed and too
Okay.
repetitive. But overall, I think it's very good.
Honestly, scores this year, nothing really like super stood out to me, but I just threw out there as my favorites. I really like the Wonder score and I really like the Batman score.
Yep.
But I'd also throw out the score from Till. Really like
Okay.
that. And of course, Wakanda Forever, as fans of the podcast will know and be well aware of by now.
That's cool. That's cool. Do you have anything, Will? Or if not, it's okay.
I can remember like a few bits and pieces from movies. And I know I really liked Everything Everywhere All at Once and Banshees, of course, as well in there. There was a vibrance to Everything Everywhere All at Once and a sinister nature to it. And then the Banshees is just the plucky Irish tunes that I find very lovable and
It's
of course
great.
very fitting. That's Batman is very memorable. It's like a really rich chocolate cake. I can't take in a lot of it. It's like, okay, I get it. I'm done. It's good, but I'm done. I don't know.
That's quite an analogy.
Yeah.
Think it's a pretty good
But I
analogy.
think I get it.
Yeah,
It's
makes
because it's
sense.
not original. like everything else about me.
You thought of a joke on your own earlier.
Oh no.
It's
That's
self-deprecating,
original.
so
All right, all right. Um, my favorite score of the year, the one that absolutely just pulls ahead of all the others.
Uh-huh.
Not that the others aren't great, but this one is just on another level, is Babylon. Okay.
Okay.
And a huge reason, little ashamed to admit, but a huge reason why on my first viewing of Babylon, I came out just ecstatic from that movie was because of the score, because it's just so good. Like in it there's there's so much of it, and it's like it plays during like nearly every second of the almost 3 hour, no, it is 3 hour movie, which is great. And it's like Damien Chazelle, he better he better realize how much of a how much Justin Hurwitz benefits his movies, because that man is a phenomenal composer. It's it's hectic when it needs to be. It's, it's choppy and fun when it needs to be. It's lighthearted. It's got a little romantic thing. It goes just insane on the trumpets when it needs to. There's so much percussion, and it, it it's just rock and roll. If rock and roll was invented in the 1920s, and it's awesome. So
Wasn't rock and roll invented by the 1920s? Anyways, now I'm curious, would you say this score is something that is very good standalone, or is it something that you kind of need the context of the movie to fully
I,
enjoy?
I've been listening to it standalone ever since I left
Okay,
the theater for my first viewing. So it's that good.
interesting. I'll have to listen to that. Because wasn't that nominated for best score?
It was, yeah.
Okay,
I I think if Babylon has a chance to win anything, I think it's best score, which is awesome. I hope it does. I'm not sure. I don't remember what else got nominated for score, but I think there were some good ones. It was Fablemans, it was Banshees, but Babylon is the best.
cool.
Worst movies?
Yeah.
Gonna go just like bottom five real quick.
how about just three?
Bottom three.
How about we
A little
just bottom
annoying.
two? Because we don't need to be too negative. Does bottom two work?
Oh, because you know what my third least favorite movie of the year is, don't you, Warren?
I'd say three. I'd say three.
Say three.
Three's good. 3, 2, 1.
Uh,
All right, Warren, lead us off. What's your third least favorite movie?
third from last.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's pretty close. There are a lot of tough contenders here, but I went with The People We Hate at the Wedding. It turns out with a title like that, you really do just hate all the people at the wedding.
Dang. I'm gonna go with Jurassic World Dominion.
Wow.
I'm literally using Carter's exact order, by the way. He nailed them.
Yes, I did.
Wow.
You didn't nail any of the other tops, but you
Fair,
nailed
fair,
that.
fair.
You nailed the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jurassic World Dominion, very unbelievable plot with, and not in the way like Jurassic Park did it, where it's like, oh well, maybe this will never happen, but you still feel wonder because Spielberg, man, he can just
Yeah, that means it's
gets you.
believable. It's like Jurassic Park
Um,
is believable.
Okay,
Like you
yeah, but this is just
also you don't see a
there's brilliant.
dinosaur for the first like 40 minutes in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, but here it's just I hated it. I didn't get anything from it. I found it so annoying, and I found its subplots so annoying, and I found its characters bland, and I think the movie has a huge problem with tokenism as well, and
Hmm.
yeah,
Now, for context, I gave People We Hate at the Wedding a 2 out of 10. So I guess for context, what did you give Jurassic World?
I'd say that all of these I don't know what to give them out of
Jurassic World
10.
Dominion, that is.
Yes.
I don't know what to give the three of these bottom ones, but I would label them as my would not recommends, and not just
Okay.
would not recommends,
Stay
would
away.
dissuade from. So like if someone's like, oh, I think I want to see that, not I wouldn't, I would move it into the you shouldn't type of category, if that makes sense. So it's like
Makes sense.
you should not waste your time with Jurassic World Dominion. Terrible film.
I don't think I'd go that far, but I give it a
I
5
will.
out of 10, which I would say is not worth watching.
Well, it's okay, Warren. I will go that far. I have told people when they're checking out the library, I wouldn't, man.
Yeah, that's a pretty apt description of the movie.
Yep.
Your hero will.
Carter, what have you got?
It's just honest work.
Third. So third to last for me is Black Panther: Wakanda
Oh,
Forever.
he's done it.
It is just this bad, I think. I talked about this a ton in my podcast. My best thoughts in the podcast are laid out in from 40 to 50 minutes and an hour 30 to an hour 45
You
in the
time
podcast.
stamped it.
I'm citing myself, okay? This is if you want to hear an in-depth argument, because it's like, what? He hates Wakanda Forever? It's like, yeah, I do. I have valid reasons for it, okay? It's it's awful. I think it's just bad. It's just heartless. It's weightless, and it's brainless, man. There's nothing to it. I think the post-credit scene, I have this written down. I forgot to say this, I think. The like Marvel's had some bad post-credit scenes before, okay? But like none of them hold a candle to the atrocity that is this post-credit scene. Those who came up with this scene and like decided to put it in the movie and just to keep it in the movie should be ashamed of themselves, and they should never be able to work in the film industry again. You
Well,
cannot be that tone deaf and be
there's no
allowed to make movies,
there's
in
no
my
need
opinion.
to rehash it because we spent a good like half an hour for Wakanda Forever podcast. But
Yes, that's
personally,
my
that
rant.
was
I'm done.
one of my favorite post credit scenes Marvel's ever done.
All right. We have differing opinions, and that's okay. I'll try to stay away from trashing this movie.
All right, what's Snake? Carter, what's your second
That's a good
least
idea.
favorite movie?
Let's Snake. So, continuing with a certain company I don't like, in
Oh no.
second to last place, I have Thor: Love and Thunder. It's just it. If you go to a Marvel movie, it's rare that the audience like isn't laughing at all.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm rarely laughing, but we went and saw this, and it was dead,
Yeah.
and it was
It was
like
bad.
It tanked,
it's
and
like
it should.
who wrote these jokes? Who
Hmm.
came up with this and said, "Oh, this will get a good laugh." It it's pathetic. It really
Yeah.
is, and it like there really isn't anything redeemable about this, effects wise, acting wise, visuals wise. It, even the action scenes suck. It's just something I never want to think about again.
Mhm.
Hate it.
Warren?
I
We're
mean,
snaking your up, Will.
Oh, I was
yeah.
second? I thought I was first. Okay.
Were you?
Yeah.
Wait, were you?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I
I
didn't
think it
think you
was
were.
Never
because
mind,
Warren
never
broke.
mind,
No,
never
all right,
mind, never
fine.
mind. Yeah, you're right.
We all
So,
have great memories here.
okay, so you guys are gonna have to help me out because it's a coin flip right now
Okay.
Oh, okay.
between
Wait, no, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
Yeah, you don't want to like.
no, between second and fourth. Because
Ooh.
Jurassic
Huh?
World
Top between
Dominion.
third and
No.
fourth.
So I'll bring this up later. It's like Jurassic World Dominion is my benchmark for the bottom three, right? It's like this. And so I'm deciding because I know I like one of these more than it, but I'm not sure in which one I want to lie to myself more about. And it's Northman or Minions. And
Two
I'm not
phenomenal
sure.
movie.
And I'm not sure.
That's-
It
On top
makes
of
sense.
short-term memory loss, you're
It
struggling
makes
with
sense
math
to
here.
me. No, I'm not. Trust me. I know what I'm talking about because I think I agree with the Northman being at fourth to last for me because of the campfire dance scene and the opening fight scene. They're kind of manly. Yeah, Carter, you hit. So for those of you who obviously wouldn't know this, but Carter sent me a letterboxed ranking, and he's like, "This is my guess," and I think I'm gonna keep the Northman out of the bottom three because I do think it is better than Jurassic World Dominion in retrospect. And I will
Tampering.
keep at two Minions Rise of Gru. Just didn't do anything for me. I don't think I laughed the entire film. Just kind of
Sad.
wanted to leave. Yeah, I was hoping to enjoy
Dead
it because
inside.
it was a fun experience, but
No decision to leave there. So my second least favorite movie of the year was already brought up a little bit, but what I'm about to say might make you question how something was worse than this. But believe me, something was. My second least favorite movie of the year, Fistful of Vengeance. So it's, for those who don't know, it's based on it's a sequel to a Netflix series. It's about this like supernatural kung fu drama thing, and the sequel is a film that like takes place a couple years after. I think it's a couple years after the events of the series, but it's so it just goes all over the place with no point. There's no reason to anything. Everyone's just going to random stuff, and with 30 minutes left in this, like, however long the movie is, all the characters huddle together and they go, basically, wait, why are we here? And they recap like all the plot, like everything they're supposed to be doing the whole movie. And they just explain everything right there. And yeah, nothing happens in the movie. Nothing makes sense in the movie. Yeah, there's just nothing to like about the movie.
Fair enough. All right, Warren, snake it back. What's your
All
number
right.
one?
Well, least favorite movie of the year. You knew it was coming. Little movie called One Up. So I'll just read you the synopsis on
Is
IMDb.
this a gamer movie?
This is the synopsis on IMDb. Follows a gamer who quits her college esports team due to sexism from her male counterparts, which honestly actually sounds like it could be an interesting movie, but it is so bad. I don't even know how to begin to explain how bad these. Oh, it takes a special level of terrible to be this terrible.
Warren, did you feel offended as a gamer?
I felt offended as a human.
Well said.
Oh,
All right. My number one, it's already been mentioned, Thor Love and Thunder. Do not see this movie in any way, shape, or form. We must forget about this movie and we must purge ourselves of the debacle of these poor, precious people. Because Taika, you can direct a good movie.
we know we can.
It's just not this time, bud.
Not this time.
Not this time.
All right, and I'll finish mine off.
What's it gonna be, Carter?
So my least favorite movie of the year. Warren's the only one with original stuff, unfortunately. Sorry, guys. But my least favorite movie of the year is Jurassic World Dominion. This is just an atrocity.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't a single second of this film that I enjoyed, that I said to myself, I'm glad I went to the movies today. It it is
Not
just
even Jeff Goldblum?
No,
see,
no.
the thing is that no one in this movie, and then like I'm rarely someone to say that, oh, the characters were off. The characters were misguided. The characters wasn't the same person who they were, in the previous film, the previous TV series, previous book. But the three characters they bring back for this film from the originals, they're not the same people they were in Jurassic Park. They're just the actor is there being the actor, being their presence. Warren just ate a Pringle like he was drinking a glass of water. Sorry, that distracted me. But
No,
like
so you don't get your hands dirty. It's a special skill I've spent years developing.
it was pretty impressive, I'm not gonna lie. That was quite a sight. Um, it just reiterates the same thing we saw in Jurassic World, same thing we saw in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And even like the dinosaurs, that are let loose onto the
There are
world's concept,
dinosaurs in Jurassic Park.
it, they just butcher the concept. There's just nothing interesting about this movie. There's nothing funny about this movie. There's nothing well made technically about this movie.
Nope.
There isn't a second that isn't filled with someone talking, saying something meaningless, making a stupid, unfunny joke,
Yep.
saying random science nonsense. And just the icing on the cake, not the icing on the cake, the nail in the coffin for me
Very different.
is, eh, I think was the villain. I think it's just, there's been some bad villains this year, but
Wait,
this
who even
is,
was the villain?
this
I
is,
can't even
see,
remember.
you don't know. It's just another evil businessman. It's the evil businessman again. And there was that, like, it almost worked in Jurassic World. It did work in Jurassic World because it was like
I think
two
it worked in
sides of the
Jurassic
business
World.
coin.
Yeah.
It was like, I think Claire is her name, Bryce Dallas Howard versus the the guy from Full Metal Jacket, Vincent D'Onofrio, who wanted to make Velociraptors war machines. It was like funny and goofy, but this is just it's just guy who wants to sell dinosaurs and exploit people for money. It's just yet another like big blockbuster, made by rich businessmen about how businessmen are evil. It's like how are you really Do you really lack this much self-awareness? It's like you are the evil businessman in this situation. Do you not know this? Like,
You tell him,
and
Carter.
these filmmakers,
Economics degree showing
they
through.
they think that they are making profound statements, but they are not.
I'll give
And
you
it is
one good thing in
annoying.
Jurassic
Yeah.
World Dominion. Even though it was only a brief scene, it had Omar Sy briefly as he was running around trying to catch. I think he was trying to catch a dinosaur or something.
It's
But
cool. I wish I knew who that was. I wish I could feel happiness while watching this movie, but I couldn't.
do you think that part of the reason you were so offended by it was because you loved the first one so much?
Yeah, I told you the guys this when we left the theater. That original Jurassic Park is one of, if not the movie that made me love movies. I saw it when I was like 15, 16. Really, literally changed the way how I saw film.
Dang.
So it's sad to see it brought back and brought to this depth. It's unfortunate, but what can you do?
On a lighter note, we do have our top tens of the year, right?
Yes, we do.
Flip on a
Eh?
dime just like that.
Yes, we
And
do.
we're
All right.
ready to get to the good stuff.
Exactly. So
How do we
who wants
want to
go
stake
first?
this? Do you mind being in the middle, Will, or do you want someone
No,
else to be
no,
in the
we're
middle?
good. I say we go through the 6 through 10 pretty quick, and then five through one is where we kind of start to get a little bit more nuanced.
Cool.
All right. Who wants us to kick it off? Carter, go for it. 10.
All right. So in 10th place, as I said, 11th, barely didn't make the cut. Ambulance, very sad. But in 10th place, I have Nope from Jordan Peele,
Okay,
the very movie that started the podcast. So
true.
very, very cool.
The
Great.
Monkey Business Cornerstone.
Yep, great little movie. Has a great monkey in it.
Gordy.
Yep.
Wait, it's not a monkey, it's an ape, right?
It's an ape. Yep, he's
Yeah.
a chimp. Chimpanzee. Gordy's home. But I have seen this twice. I think it's awesome. Really, really strong 8 out of 10. Yeah, we gave our thoughts on this. I wish I saw it in a theater again because it looks awesome. Hoytae van Hoytema is one of the best cinematographers working today, I think, and he nails the feel of like blending the Western genre with like the horror genre. Really cool. Really disappointed this didn't get any Oscar consideration at all because I think it should have really. I hope Jordan Peele gets back on their radar, not by his doing, not by him steering his way back, but by them recognizing how great of a filmmaker he is.
Now, here's a paradox for you.
Yep.
When the Academy was considering Oscar nominations, they said nope.
That they did.
Or did they?
Or did they? Yeah, technically they didn't,
Yeah.
but they also did. Will doesn't get it.
Will's face
Will,
is
what's
very
your number
puzzled.
10?
Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness.
All right.
Okay.
Sam Raimi had a great goofy action film that was a little over the top in every way that I just kind of enjoyed. I don't really have much to say about it. I think Wada was a great antagonist. I love the way she decked everyone. She really set a fun power scale to not be messed with. The one side chick girl was a little annoying.
Okay. You don't have to be so disrespectful
But-
to America Chavez.
Well, America Chavez was a little annoying. But
Also, who's
I
to say
think-
Wanda's the antagonist? Maybe she was the protagonist.
I doubt it. But anyway, I think that America Chavez, for being 16, one heck of a performance.
Yeah.
Definitely something that I couldn't have done at that age, that's for sure. So a lot of blooming talent. Really proud of her for doing
I
it.
couldn't do it any age.
It just kind of falls flat. But again, to be expected. She's grown. She'll be fine in a few years.
Would you agree or disagree with the sentiment that Sam Raimi made and broke the movie?
I think he just made it, so I would disagree with it.
I think he made it. I think he broke the Marvelness of the movie.
Maybe
Which
that's why I didn't
I-
like it.
Yeah,
I think it's about
I
expectations.
understand where you're coming from, Warren. I really do. Like
Mhm.
I get the like
Mhm.
it doesn't click well. It really hurts some certain things. He didn't watch WandaVision,
Yeah,
which is
I mean, it wasn't even anything
hysterical.
about filmmaking. It was just his
Uh-huh.
narrative decisions to
He-
ignore everything previously in the canon.
Yeah, that's just Sam Raimi. I love him for it.
Yeah,
I hate him
think
for it.
I think it's great.
I also think this is a great movie. I have it at number 20 on my list, but I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Oh, also,
No, I did not expect to.
it's Elizabeth Olsen, right? When she drops the accent, I'm like, yes, good stuff.
Okay.
I just think it sounded better without the accent coming through from time to time, or however she does her Russian accent, which is okay, but
It's
not
not
great.
Russian. Anyways, all right, moving on.
Oh yeah,
Anything
it's the
else?
made
Anything
up
else you want to say?
country accent. No.
It's a good thing you weren't the vocal coach. All right. Um, so quick honorable mentions just missed the top 10. The Whale, Windfall, and an undisclosed movie that we will be discussing at some point was also close to the top 10, but I will not say which one yet. So number 10 for me is Elvis. I thought it was really fun. Great performances. Okay, maybe not Tom Hanks. Ignoring Tom Hanks, everyone else, they're great performances.
Agreed.
Movie, honestly, if Tom Hanks' character wasn't in it, I think the movie probably would have been higher for me. But it was still great.
I think if Tom Hanks just didn't give a bad performance in the movie, he would have worked. I don't think his character was like
Maybe.
awful. I think he just lost it for a second there, man.
I think the character just had way too much narrative importance, though,
Okay.
regardless of the performance.
Okay.
It's just an annoying character who doesn't need to be in the plot at all, who's like the main character in a sense.
Mhm.
And that whole ending scene where like we go through Elvis' life, there's this beautiful tribute to Elvis' life and like this beautiful ending where it shows like real life footage of Elvis, and then we cut back to Colonel Tom Parker as it was so bad. But the movie itself overall was great, even though it had a couple hiccups.
Will did not see Elvis. I I saw this twice in the theater and I gave it a 6, but it has really stayed with me for some reason. So I moved it up to a 7
Oh,
a
okay.
while back. I like this movie a lot. I really do. I think every I think every scene where Elvis is giving a performance, is singing, is just fantastic.
It just
the
captures the
movie,
spirit so
I
well.
think Butler and Baz Luhrmann and whoever edited and shot it just did it so well. The production design is awesome. It looks so big. It looks just so real, so rich. It's good. I really like how it kind of like divides itself by song. There's like
And by
each like
decade,
each like
because it
20-second, yeah, by decade too, but like each
because it
like
has like
20,
three decades. It's split into three parts. Yeah,
yeah, and each like 20 to 30 minutes has a different like main song that they just play over and over again and pound it to the ground, which like sounds awful, but it isn't. It's awesome. Just like had the song like constantly playing on repeat in the background.
but also every song, like every performance, has its own story and it fits
Yeah,
into the larger picture really well.
it does. It's so well done. Minor negatives. The movie feels like it's 5 hours long.
It's very long. Yeah,
Both times I saw it, I had a headache. I went in without a headache and it gave me one. But really, like it's one of the movies this year. Where do I have it at? It's 22 for me on my list, but I would recommend this very, very strongly. I would just say don't go expecting the best movie ever, but it's one that like I think this is a must see.
yeah. This movie really
Strangely.
stuck with me. For context, I saw it four times in theaters, and I give it an 8 out of 10.
Cool.
All right, are we on to number 9?
Go for it.
All right, my number 9 was No Exit, which is kind of like a low budget thriller movie, single location, really builds up the tension really well, and it's like a mystery for the first half, and then kind of like thriller horror for the last half once they figure out who's behind. I'll just give minor spoilers. Basically, there's a snowstorm, and there's this oddball collection of, I think it's 5 characters who are all trapped in this, I don't know, some sort of lodge or like some building off the highway where they're all stranded as the snowstorm rages. And the one character is like out for a phone call or something and figures out that there's a kid who's like kidnapped in the back of this van. And so she knows that it's one of the other 4 people there, but she doesn't know who. And so for the first half of the movie, it's like trying to figure out who's behind this. And the last half, it's trying to survive and escape and, save everyone and escape the person who's responsible. But very well done. It does a great job of just using the tension of the unknown, characters running through the woods or characters hiding behind a door or something, and just where the camera camera, what it's not showing, speaks more than what the camera is showing, and it utilizes that really well.
Very cool. What you got for 9, Will?
I've got a tie, Nope, and Sonic 2. Because
All
I
right.
enjoyed them both more than Doctor Strange, and I love me some dumb animated comedies. So yeah, Nope and Sonic 2. Just some really thought-provoking visuals and just a really dumb action comedy with Jim Carrey, man.
How would you rate Jim Carrey's performance as Dr. Eggman? Is that who he's playing? Yeah.
I think it works. He's not like the big portly guy from the video games, but I never played the video games, so I don't really care. I just kind of wanted old school Jim Carrey from like The Mask and Ace Ventura, stuff like that. And I think he really came through, brought a lot of enjoyment.
So for 9th, for me, I have Babylon. This is the newest Damien Chazelle movie. It, uh, it infamously now cost a lot to make and made like a fraction of that, less than 10% back opening weekend. Bad, bad, bad. But it is just a thrill ride of just insanity. And man, this guy can direct a movie. Like he's not the strongest writer yet, I don't think. He has yet to write something that's really emotionally resonated with me, but he's just such a strong director. He just knows what to do. It's just crazy how energetic he can make his movies, and they're fun to watch. As I said, the score is the best of the year. Production design's awesome. It really just it's just a movie where it just jumps from set piece to set piece during the 1920s into the 1930s about about the silent era and going into the talkies. Really funny ending, really controversial ending that it's funny in the sense that it's controversial that like people are like so mad about it because it is just is wacky. I thought it was awesome. I wrote down it has the Boogie Nights problem. I know you guys probably haven't seen that, but it's a rise and fall story where the first half is better than the second half. And that's a bit of a weakness for it. I think like the best rise and fall stories, the second half, the fall is better. Just all the ones I can think of that's true for me. The best rise and fall films have achieved the classic status that they have because the second half is better, because it really knows what it's telling, like thematically. It's the message and the point it's getting across.
Now, what do you mean by rise and fall?
Where at the start of a movie, our lead character, he gets crapped on by an elephant. He's no one important. He's just a guy running around working for someone in Hollywood. And then he meets a girl who wants to be an actress. He wants to work in movies. She wants to be an actress. It's the classic. Damien Chazelle is just doing the same thing over and over again. This is what he's done for his past two movies. No, his first two movies. But they work hard. They get big in Hollywood, and then they enjoy the spoils of their success and their debauchery. And in the second half, it all comes crashing down, and everything catches up with them.
Oh, okay. So kind of like Macbeth.
Not really. That's more of like a them plotting and scheming.
Well, no,
This
Macbeth,
isn't
you
really
have like
that.
the rise of he starts out as like a nobody and then he becomes king or
Yeah,
whatever it was, and
okay.
then
It'd definitely
slowly
be considered a
his
rise and
paranoia
fall.
falls
Yep.
like turns to his demise. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
gotcha.
I'd agree with that. Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. It's pretty much all I got to say about that. Great movie. Kind of wished it got more Oscars. Oscars. I was hoping to get a Best Picture nomination because it would have made a lot of people mad. And that'd been funny.
You're really here for the drama.
I might be. All right, back to me. In 8th place.
Wait, no, I don't. Warren didn't do his ninth.
We're snaking. Yeah, I did.
You did your 10th and your ninth?
We're
Yeah.
snaking, right? Yes,
Yeah.
he said Elvis and they said no exit.
Okay.
So it's me, right?
Yes. We're
Then
struggling with math
I
today.
start with 8th. All right, I start with 8th. Number 8, I have Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths. So this is, as I said earlier, it's the newest from Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu. Really, really great filmmaker. I'm not going to say underrated, but definitely underseen. Not someone that is talked about often. famous for Birdman, famous for The Revenant. Already has the best picture. This one didn't get nominated, but I wish it did. It would have made a lot of people angry. That'd been cool. It's just it's not it's a very loose fitting movie. It's very dreamlike, just kind of flows. It's about a journalist named Silverio, and it just follows his. He's a journalist and a documentarian. It just follows him as he goes through a very like a weird little trip in his life, and it's just quite interesting. It's hard to spoil. It's hard to talk about without spoiling. It's hard to talk about with spoiling because it doesn't really follow typical plot structure. It doesn't, there's nothing motivating the characters like you would find in a normal movie, but it's just a fun watch. It's shot so well by Darius Kanji. It was
Hmm.
nominated for cinematography. I wouldn't mind it winning at all because it is just gorgeous to look at. It is phenomenally shot.
What genre is it?
I guess drama, but like it's hard to really drop it into something. If I had to compare it to something, I would say it's kind of like, well, in a similar way that like Fablemans is about Spielberg and like I guess Licorice Pizza is kind of about PTA. Bardo kind of pulls on Inarritu's life and kind of reflects him and his feelings. A better comparison would be towards Eight and a Half or All That Jazz. I don't think you guys have seen those, but it's kind of like an older filmmaker kind of reflecting on their past work, and it's just really good. It's just really interesting.
Yes,
It
we're calling
really
him
is up
old
my
now.
alley. Yeah, it's I didn't do a very good job of describing it, but it's up my alley. I just loved everything about it. Phenomenal.
That's
Highly
what I like
recommend
to
it.
refer to as Nightmare Alley. All right, Will, what have you got for number 8?
I have The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Okay, okay.
I very much enjoyed the Nick Cage fourth wall breaking, I guess, biography or fake biography of Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal romping through whatever country it was with the shenanigans. And it's just a really fun, upbeat film that doesn't go out of its way. It doesn't try to be anything it isn't. And I love the acting in it. I love how beat up Nick Cage gets about himself. He's like, man, my career's over. And he's just really reminiscing on these good old days of when he was this crazy hot actor thing phenom. And now he's just, he's dated. And to just come back and to own it and to love it and to just play a fun, self centered role. Really good.
It's hard to beat Nick Cage playing Nick Cage.
And I think that was the brilliance of the marketing of it was just this movie is Nick Cage being Nick Cage. And that's exactly what you get for however long the film is.
And in some scenes,
Um,
he plays Nick Cage twice.
exactly. And that makes it even better. I just really find myself from time to time going, it's like, what are the funniest movies of the year? And that stands out to me very much as it's just one that I had a couple of takeaways from. I definitely saw the least amount of movies out of all of you, but the ones that I've seen this year that are in my top 10 or so, I still enjoy and I still think about from time to time. And uh, this movie is good. I'd recommend it to anybody above the age of 16 who has seen at least one other Nick Cage movie that wasn't a more serious one. Growing
Does
up
the
and
Croods
watching,
count?
yeah, I would say it does. I really would say it does because it still has like some of that Nick Cage charm in it. But for me, growing up with National Treasure, that's really where I was like, oh, Nick Cage is just the guy who stole the Declaration of Independence.
Yep.
And then just building on it here with more Nick Cage funny man stuff.
Or maybe his best role, Into the Spider-Verse.
I've heard some people say, now I know all spoilers of it, sadly, but because it makes Carter mad and that makes me laugh. But I've heard Pig for people out there. Like if you want to watch a good Nick Cage movie, I've heard it recommended go watch Pig. So
Pig is the Nick Cage movie. If you want to talk about like
It's high praise.
what are the best movies with Nick Cage, it's probably Spider-Verse. But if we want to talk about the best Nick Cage performance, it's Pig for sure. And honestly, Pig rivals Spider-Verse. It's that good.
Wow.
Yeah, it's it
it
is quite the film.
it's the only film I've had spoiled that I was like, man, whoops. That
Yeah,
that one would have been
because
worth it.
yeah, it would have been.
90%, 99% of everything else, I was just like, doesn't sound that crazy.
Hmm. On our menu podcast, I meant to recommend Pig because I think Pig's just a better version of the menu.
Okay.
Not
Yeah.
really it's not don't expect a Nick Cage goes to island and gets beat up by a chef. It's not that. It's not that. But similar theme.
Knowing the synopsis, yeah, I could see how it could fit in there, sure, but not really at all. Kind of different, Carter. Not gonna lie.
Well, you haven't seen it, so you can't say.
No, but
But he
I've
read a
heard. Yeah,
synopsis.
exactly. That's mostly like seeing it, except I
Uh-huh.
save
Uh-huh.
time.
Oh yeah.
Also, no pigs in the menu. Don't know if you forgot about that, but
Weren't there? There was
No.
some kind of animal on the island, right?
no.
Didn't they have? Well, they
They
had
had
chicken,
a meat
but I thought there
locker
was.
and chicken. Yes. Warren, what's your number 8?
All right, for number 8, I've got White Noise. I really did not know what to expect going into it, but it was just such a delightfully odd movie where pretty much the entire film there's just constantly people talking about random nonsense in the background, which is part of the reason why it's titled White Noise. But it's just such a weird and funky movie that it's just a fun watch. There's always something happening, and it's just delightful combination of a lot of little things that seemingly wouldn't be that important, but together they mesh really well.
I've heard you guys talk a lot about this movie. I really should probably sit down and give it a watch.
I mean, you can't go wrong with Adam Driver.
No, you can't.
Well, Star Wars.
Okay,
But
but
other than that,
he was good. It wasn't his fault, but
Yeah, regardless of what you think in those, you can't really say that he's awful in the Star Wars films, though. He really is just
that's
one of the
fair.
best actors
That's fair.
ever, maybe?
That's
Getting
not
there.
true.
well,
I think
that's
it
a bit
is.
early to say that. But I do love some Adam Driver.
I think he's getting there. Yeah,
Carter saw the Marriage Story and was like, "Oh my goodness!" Meanwhile, me, a Logan Lucky enthusiast.
no, I mean Marriage Story is great. I think White Noise is better than Marriage Story. I think this is just a phenomenal film. It's nuts. It's crazy. It's got a lot of criticism for like not fully aligning with the book, which is fair. I haven't read the book, but it's bizarre. Like it's you never know what's going to happen next. You can say that about a lot of films. People say that about a lot of films, but this one really, like it sets itself up as something just constantly turns corners and blindside you. It's awesome.
I don't want to spoil the ending of the movie, I guess, but all that fits very well with the overall symbolism and I guess the overall metaphor of the movie, if
Yeah.
I can say that without spoiling anything.
Hmm. Only seen this once. I have it at 13 on my list, but I'll probably like it a lot more when I see it again.
Cool.
And it has Greta
Highly
Gerwig in it.
recommend.
So
Yes, it does. This is, it's feeling like kind of like a spiritual prequel to Barbie a little bit. So
Well, I mean, you
so
haven't seen Barbie yet.
so the hype is ramping up.
The
Yeah,
hype
well,
is
you haven't
already
seen Pig,
very high.
so I've read a synopsis for Barbie, and I've seen
Ha-
the
You have
beautiful,
the
beautiful trailer.
screenplay? A synopsis covers the entirety of the storyline, Carter.
all right, so moving on to number 7.
7.
7, I've got a movie that I didn't really have well, okay, I shouldn't say that. I did have fairly high expectations for it, and I would say that they were met fairly well. Number 7, I've got
Black
The
Panther
Batman.
2. Oh, never mind, darn. The Batman.
what to say about the Batman.
Okay.
I really liked what they did for Bruce Wayne in this movie because the Christian Bale Batman, which was great in its own right, but it was a little hard to believe at times. But this Batman, this Bruce Wayne, kind of exists only to be Batman, and a lot of his decision making that stems from that makes far more sense, I think. And Robert Pattinson just gives a great performance, and the way that some of the scenes are shot, especially with the use of darkness and some really cool shots, like when he's leading the civilians out in the flooded arena and he's just carrying the flare. Looks so cool. The hallway fight we already talked about. There are so many scenes that just look fantastic.
Yep. Greg Fraser, really, really great cinematographer.
Yeah, it's well done. It really does put the whole sacrificing one life to be this other entity almost really well. And it puts forward the whole Bruce Wayne is just not present in Gotham because he's just doing all this Batman stuff. And it's great. I also loved it. It felt very I know that the Nolan films also did this, but it felt really practical. Like all the gadgets felt practical, the fight scenes felt practical, the body armor that he wore looked and felt really practical. The car, it felt really it was a really breathed in world that you could really tell that people put a lot of care into the set designs and the different locations where they shot everything. And it's probably critically, it's up there of all the superhero films. It's probably top three of just the best ones in all of it. But I do really enjoy the Nolan films as well. But Robert Pattinson, stellar performance.
I'm not sure it's even top three DC. That's maybe a little too far, but it is very good.
What's better? What's better than it, Warren?
It probably is top three DC, but I would say I think the first Wonder Woman is better. You could make a case for a couple of the Christopher Nolan ones.
Yeah, you like Rises a lot, right?
I really like Dark Knight Rises. Yeah,
So Wonder Woman, Dark Knight Rises, the Batman.
I'd probably put the Batman over Dark Knight Rises though, but I don't think it's like clear and away better than everything else DC has done.
Okay.
All right, well, what have you got for number 7?
7, I've got Avatar 2.
Wow.
It is my favorite viewing experience of the year as just an event type of thing because I never saw the original Avatar, so I didn't know what all this hype about 3D land was. But then watching Avatar 2 and getting sucked into everything, I think the graphics are fantastic. I think the story is just good enough to keep me invested. And yeah, I do love the characters. Even though some of them are a little annoying from time to time and they don't make decisions that I would in a perfect world, right? I still find it believable and fun and just a testament to what can be done with motion capture, also with just the drive of a cast as well to learn all these deep diving skills, to have the
Unintended.
patience. Yeah, yeah, to learn all of these skills, to really push themselves to physical limits in order to achieve a film in a different way than we've seen of just the standard bulk up physically, get a shot, or emaciate yourself, or put on a lot of weight. It was just they gained skills to do it. And I know it's done frequently, but I like that this movie gave a shout out to, diving and all that. It was just, I don't know. I really,
It gave a shout out to diving.
Shout out to diving.
yeah, dude. Like
What?
there's not a lot of other movies that have gone and been like, yeah, these people learned to dive for like 10 minutes. I thought that was really cool. You know,
I don't know if
they
I'd call
learned
that
to
a
dive.
shout out to diving.
Well, I am. And
Okay.
it's just they got, can you hold your breath for 10 minutes?
Oh, absolutely not.
That's just something that they learned to
I
do
can.
so they could do. No, you cannot. That is just something that they learned to do for the movie. And yeah, James Cameron, you rock. Keep making them. I don't care if Loak is the next
Well, he was my favorite
star.
character, but I mean, I can't
go.
resist a good fantasy epic. But I just loved how they didn't try to do more narratively than they needed to. They kept it a very simple story narratively, and they just played with a simple story for 2.5 hours.
It was just Avatar 1 again with better graphics in the water. And I've got a theory that they're going to all the Minecraft biomes with the Avatar films. So really looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to the Ender Dragon fight. Yeah.
Need the Terracotta Hills next.
Boom. Mushrooms. Mushroom biome, bro. Avatar and Sonic crossover. Be great.
All right, for number 7, I have The Northman. And
Ah,
before you sigh, I think it will
too late.
delight you for me to reveal that I have dropped this rating from a 10 to a 9. There's the claps. Yep. I think it's a 9 out of 10. I think it's solid. I think it's awesome. Saw it twice in theaters. Don't regret it an ounce.
I do.
It's just we're aware. Yep. The very, very divisive movie for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know. I think it's just funny and just crazy and just I can't resist a fantasy epic, as Warren just said. But this one I think is just nudges out Avatar just a little bit, just because it's much more visceral. It's not trying to be a special effects
I
showcase.
don't think it was really. completely fantasy or really an epic though. But that I guess
Okay,
that's besides the point.
fair. It's yeah, I mean like the thing is, Robert Eggers, he doesn't care what you think of this movie. And I'm not saying like he doesn't care what you want or you will. I don't
Well,
think he
that's also
cares
true.
I don't think he cares what people think about this movie. He's not trying to make it relatable to a modern day audience, and he doesn't care if you view it as boring or gross or, like unacceptable. He's just trying to make a movie about Vikings who get angry at each other. And that's hilarious to me. I love it. It's not often that you see a movie that starts with like 800 AD on the screen. And this one did. Very enjoyable. Highly recommend.
You know, a movie that can have something similar to that. 65. It might start.
Very, very possible.
Shout out to Adam Driver again.
You seen the trailer for 65, Will? I don't want to get too sidetracked,
What
but
the heck is 65?
all right, never mind.
This a retirement film?
At number s- at number six, at number six, I have Triangle of Sadness.
Okay.
This one snagged a surprising Best Picture nomination and a Best Director nomination for Ruben Östlund, which I did not expect at all. It won the Palme d'Or over in France. It's got a lot of festival hype. Some people were complaining, like saying, oh, they gave the Palme d'Or to Parasite again. I saw that as a complaint, but it's like kind of obviously it's not as good as Parasite, but it's called Triangle of Sadness for a number of reasons, but it's divided into three distinct parts. Not like three act structure, but like there are three times where it says this is chapter one, this is chapter two, chapter three. And once chapter two starts, it just becomes insanity. It just becomes crazy. Like again, I'm saying this, but you really have no clue where this movie's going to go. And it pulls the rug out from under you many times. And the key that holds it all together is it's hilarious. It is so funny. It's one of the funniest movies of the year. And that's not something I expected at all going into it. I thought it was just going to be one of them, another typical satire, but it had me laughing like every 2 minutes. Really, really good. Don't want to give too much away. Check this one out if you can.
I definitely
It's
want
I
to. Yeah.
don't think it's gonna win anything. I just think there are others that have more momentum behind them. But I'm happy this is getting recognition because it was a blast.
Did you see it theaters or
I did
was it
not see it
like
in theaters now. Didn't get to it.
pirated?
Yep,
Cool. Fair enough.
as
Obviously, he's
intended.
joking, guys.
Uh-huh.
All right, so my number 6 now.
Back to Will. Yep.
All right, so this is I want to say a little bit about right before I say it, and it is that I give this movie a 10 out of 10. However, it didn't stick with me as much as I thought it was going to. And while it's good, I found more heart and more fun in the rest of my top 5. And so for me, just shy of the top 5 is number 6, The Fablemans.
Wow.
I think this is an incredible piece of film. Like you can do a page by page, book by book, scene by scene, whatever storyboard you want to make of this film, and just go, wow. Steven Spielberg knows how to make a movie and capture an audience. Please see this movie. For me, it just didn't have the sticking power that the other films, not a lot, but the other films that I saw this year in the top 5 have. What are your guys' thoughts on it? Did it stick with you more than it did me? Is it?
I mean, yeah, that's fair. It's still, not a criticism, I don't think. It's sixth favorite of the year for you, right? That's awesome.
Mhm.
That's great. Yeah, it's just a phenomenal movie. Prom scene is one of the best prom scenes ever.
Oh, so good.
Which is like Spielberg is on a tear, man. Who would have like thought like 2 years ago, like you would have said, Steven Spielberg, he could direct a prom scene really well.
And a
Never would
musical.
have guessed it. Now he's done two of the best prom scenes ever in the past two
Well,
years.
okay. Let's not get carried away here.
No, I'm not getting carried away. I'm
I
I'm,
don't think
I'm
he's getting carried away.
I don't think you've ever seen a better one, Warren. I don't know. I mean, all your
You
all your
rate West
cheesy
Side
little
Story
teenage
very
rom-coms,
highly.
you're really gonna compare those to the Fabelmans? I mean, come on. He's probably gonna win Best Picture, which is
I hope not.
cool.
Which is it would be cool,
Yeah,
but they're my top 2 I have a bigger heart for. So we'll see.
fair.
Um I'm really interested to see what Best Picture does, because I don't think that a movie I don't like is going to get Best Picture. So
I think this is going to stick with me more and matter to me more if it doesn't win Best Picture, in all honesty.
mm.
And I don't know how I can really explain that, but it's just
Is it because you think
kind of a feeling.
critically he would deserve it? Because I would say that critically it's better than my 1 and 2, but I don't love it more, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've explained yourself. We
Okay.
get it. Understandable.
I will say I'm not sure I've ever seen Will more excited and gushing about a movie more than he was as we left the theater after The Fablemans.
No, like again, it was incredible to watch, because so much of my expectations about how a film should be told or how side plots need to be resolved were completely subverted. And Spielberg, the best movies are the ones that teach you something new that you didn't know, right? They reveal some of the unknown unknowns. Personal favorites have to deal with what impacts you as a person, your taste, and stuff like that. But you can respect a film regardless of whether or not you like it if it taught you something you didn't know. And for me, The Fablemans taught me about side character plots and how you develop them and how to have them bow out in order to keep your theme as the central point. And one of the things is, in a lesser film, you would have had the prom scene focus more on the kid and the girl and them going back together. But that scene doesn't happen, right? It would have had you have a final success of him actually in film. That doesn't happen. It would have had more focus on some of the movies that he made. Like a lesser film, when Michelle Williams is watching the film, would have shot back to the film instead of just holding on Michelle Williams' face the whole time. It's like so much of the movie is just mature, experienced, and wise filmmaking and storytelling and presentation. And this movie will teach you things you didn't know about filmmaking. And I think that's why, again, nothing but praise for it. Seriously, it's so good. And but a lot of the gushing is just critically good. I did find myself thinking about it less and less over time. But again, the prom scene and the movie is incredible. And you can just do like video essays or whatever they're called on that scene alone for forever. I've talked enough. Warren, number 6.
All right, number 6, I had The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Oh,
We already talked about that one, so
yep.
I'll skip past that one. Number 5, I have Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Top 5. Let's go. All
Yep.
right, nice.
Yeah, so definitely one of my favorite movies of the year. It was just so nonstop crazy with such a heart at the center of it, and just such a cool way to tell that story. Even just how they split it up into chapter 1, everything, chapter 2, everywhere, chapter 3, all at once. It was so well done, so out there, but so tied together. So many things to love about it.
I love that this movie expects the audience member to be intelligent. And here's what I mean by that. They introduce a lot of information and a lot of tropes, and they don't explain anything more than once. They're just like, all right, here's this thing, and we're just gonna beat it into you over and over again. If you don't get it, get out. And they're like, that's the character. This is how swapping dimensions works, and you're going to have to look for cues as to when things are happening. Okay, got it, go. And I loved it. I loved that my mom loved it. Shout out to Miss Janet. My mom got me really into film at 13 with like Kill Bill and stuff like that. So introduce your kids to Quentin Tarantino, people. Oh, dude, and just the heart. I love that when you said it, just the heart behind this film and the characters is so well done. And all of them are believed to be hurting or ignorant and just dumb things that don't make sense, but are really, really touching. And that's what the movie does. It takes absurd and it also makes you cry at the absurd, or at least it did for me. Like with rocks, with hot dog fingers. It's just like, why am I getting teary-eyed to Jamie Lee Curtis and Michelle Yeoh doing or having like a tender romantic moment when they've got hot dog fingers? It's like, how is this movie doing this? And then just the silence of the rocks. Oh, beautiful.
I think it also had arguably one of the best quotes of the year when Waymond is talking to Evelyn, he goes, in another life, I would have liked just doing laundry and taxes with you. Hits so hard.
Or the other line of but you have made every, it's like some people they only make one or two bad decisions. You have made every bad decision. That's why you have to be the best. And it was only in all those failures that she could save her daughter. Oh, it's so good. Carter, anything to add on about this film?
Loved it. Awesome film. It really hasn't stuck with me, unfortunately.
Okay.
I'm happy that people love this the way that they are loving it. I'm happy that it made the money that it did, and that it's, something that is original like this is getting the acclaim. I think the first half is just perfect. It's so good. It's just such reckless filmmaking, and it's just everything firing on all cylinders, like you said. Great. I like the message. I think the third act has way too much slow motion. I think it devolves a bit into like kind of like a Hallmark movie for cinephiles towards the end a little bit.
It's quite a description.
Yeah, but it's impossible for me to dislike this, of course. I love this. It's a solid 8 out of 10. I have it at number 18 on
Cool.
my list.
Fair enough. I'll
Really
take
like it.
top 20.
Um,
Sure.
just the impact it's having on people is awesome. Love it.
Sweet.
It's not something that really emotionally resonated with me, but just from a filmmaking perspective, like editing, Warren, touched on that. It's so good. It's shot really well.
Mhm.
Performances are awesome. Waymond is the best character. I really, really liked him. He was awesome.
Yep.
Ke Huy Quan,
Yep.
phenomenal comeback. Great stuff.
All right, Will, what have you got for number 5?
All right. Breaking in the top 5 for me is, again, I think this is the biggest testament to what you guys have done for me over this past year of just enjoying films, seeing stuff I maybe wouldn't have wanted to or did want to, or just building the friendship with you guys has been awesome. And I think the biggest testament to that is my number 5 pick at Puss in Boots.
Yes.
This film rules.
Yes, it
This
does.
film has amazing little set pieces. Antonio Banderas doing the whole cat Zorro thing is more the only other time it can rival it is the initial reveal in Shrek 2. But this film, no, because
Yeah.
that's what's so funny about it. Like, what, Carter, you didn't know that Antonio Banderas was Zorro. I was like, that's half the joke.
Yeah.
It's half the joke is that it's just Puss in Boots. Wah, wah, wah. And so if you guys haven't seen Zorro, go watch Zorro and then watch this film, and you will laugh even harder because of all the stuff that this film does. But I think it deals with mental health issues really well. Gives awesome visuals. I think it has lovable characters alongside of that. It has a fantastic villain, and it really takes not a lot of time to develop characters really, really well. Like you have Goldilocks and the Three Bears, or you have the guy who sticks his thumb in the pie. What's his Johnny? I think it's like Johnny.
Jack Horner.
Yeah, Jack Horner. Okay, thanks.
John Mulaney.
I really enjoy it as well. I think the magic and wonder that the movie puts out there as well. And sometimes you can just look at it and go, it's like, well, does it just go back to, oh, blah, 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 friendship? Maybe. Sure. I don't care. But what I do care about is the journey that everyone goes on and how that journey is portrayed. And it is magnificent. This is the film that I would label as the film of, I would recommend this to anyone and everyone to go see this film. And it is something that I would even take people to go see. I think very highly of this film inside of the animated world and inside of the total realm of films this year that I've seen. So good. And I think this easily beats out Turning Red for hopefully for the Oscars, but we'll see. I know people have
Well, it's probably more up against Pinocchio, but
Yeah, it's gotta be
Oh,
Pinocchio and
true.
Marcel if it wants the Oscar.
mhm.
Oh, I forgot about Marcel. I never saw that.
Me
Shoot.
neither.
Somehow I missed that too.
But yeah, Puss in Boots. This is the film that I would stake my reputation as liking fun movies on, because I am a fun movie loving guy. And if you don't like this movie,
right.
you really don't have a heart. I don't care. So Daniel, if you're out there, bud, go see this film.
Yeah, Daniel. All right,
Yeah,
Carter,
Daniel.
what have you got for number 5?
Well, you know what? My number 5 is Puss in Boots: The Last
Let's
Wish.
go!
Yes, it is.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yep, so
Uh,
just everything Will said and more, I agree with 1,000%. Just a phenomenal movie. And ah, like Will said, like, it comes down to like friendship and stuff like that, but I think it's just it matters like when in this movie because it's earned. And it's so well done. It's so mature and it's just a blast. It's fun. It's lighthearted. It doesn't take itself super seriously, of course, even though there is a character that is the personification of death.
Yeah.
It's it's still just a funny movie about two cats just entering the heart of darkness. It pretty much there's a ton of Apocalypse Now references, which is just funny,
Oh
hilarious.
yeah,
Yeah,
there really are.
there really are. And even like the structure of the movie is similar to Apocalypse Now, so it
Dude.
it will go down as one of the best movies of all time alongside Apocalypse Now. Cannot recommend it enough. Would recommend this to anyone and everyone.
Yeah.
Moving right along. So number four for me is Tar,
okay.
a movie that's been confusing a lot of people, including one of us in this podcast.
We don't have to name names.
Including two of us in this podcast. I'll say that because it's not a movie I fully comprehend, and
Come on, Will.
that's always something I love to see. Will has not seen it, but Tar opens with a text message between two people, and one says haunted, and then someone says, I mean, she still has a conscience, right? And then the other says, maybe. Tar is a hard character study, and it's just super streamlined, and then just goes straight into the mind of Lydia Tarr, played by Cate Blanchett, who gives one of the best performances of the year, top five for me. Won the
Cool.
Golden Globe, looking to win the Oscar, just
Probably will.
transforms into this fictional composer. And that's the start of what's so appealing to me about this film. It's faking a biopic, getting old people to go to the theater, thinking they're going to see a movie about a composer, and then it opens with like a discussion, like a 20-minute interview of her talking
It's like a
about
full TED talk.
modern,
Yeah.
yeah, like about modern classical music, and they name drop the coronavirus and Brett Kavanaugh, and it's nuts. And then the second scene is, like a dinner discussion, and then the third scene goes into this like 15-minute one take where the camera just zooms around a classroom, but like with such poise, not like Michael Bay drone. It's so controlled. And then they're talking about gender and people of color and how that is important nowadays, as it should be, and how maybe we shouldn't listen to composers of the past and how
Mm.
Leotard defends this. And it's getting a lot of traction in conservative circles for being anti-cancel culture, which I think is stupid and just like the obvious conservative, stupid economic 101 reading into this film because it's not really about cancel culture. It's a movie about many things, but I think it's a movie about humility. I think it's a movie about our passions. During the classroom scene when she's teaching, she's playing Bach and arguing with a student, and she says there's a humility in Bach. He's not pretending he's certain about anything. He knows that it's always in the question that involves the listener. It's never the answer, right? And we live in a society where everyone has their feet dug in over something. And many people have their feet dug in over like every single issue ever. And this isn't really a film that involves modern politics and is about that. It does kind of create the facade about that in the first 40 minutes or whatever. But it's just a movie about trying to fight against the anger of the adult world, I think, and saying when we when we take something that's, just something that's beautiful, like classical music, even that can be corrupted by the selfishness, the power-hungry desires, jealousy, pride, playing favorites, becoming out of touch that goes along with just the adult world and living. And it's just an awful, sad thing. On top of that, it's just something it's quite psychedelic. It definitely has some things where it's going for the trippy stuff. It's just a blast to watch. It's something that even if I don't understand what's going on, even if I don't understand what it's trying to convey or trying to say thematically, it's something that I just have so much fun watching. Saw it in a theater the first time, which really helps it because it's long and it's easy to sit in a theater and pay attention to it. I don't know. It just clicked with me for some reason. It's something that like again, like Bardo, it's just on my wavelength. I just picked up on it. It made me happy, nervous, uncomfortable. I was laughing a lot and like whenever it went for something, I was feeling that emotion. And that's what we go to the movies for. Love
So I
this
will
one.
say, I was kind of I had to do a couple things while I was watching the movie, so I was kind of multitasking and wasn't like fully focused. And it seemed like every time I like fully tuned in, I was well, the first half of the movie I thought I had like a pretty good read on what was going on. And then when the second half of the movie rolled around, I was so lost and I had no clue what was happening at the ending. So this
Hmm.
is one that I might have to go back and rewatch with more attention. It's quite an ending.
It's quite an ending. And I'm gonna say spoilers for Tar right here, because either you care or you don't. And you know, it's a heavy one. So essentially she's forced out of her conductor position due to some things she does, actions she takes, very, very evil stuff. And she's sent back and she goes to her old family home. And the third act is what seals it for me. She goes to her old family home. She talks to her brother, who kind of gives her the cold shoulder, but like, is also there for her. And then she pulls out some old VHS tapes and she's just watching an old composer on VHS tapes talk about music and talk about how music is a beautiful thing. And he gives a really good speech about tying music to emotions and music to like fluidity and just it's just moving. It's not something that's rigid or scheduled or anything like that. And she just sits there and cries and it's just so good. It's so believable. And after that she moves back to South America where she studied for her doctorate or whatever, supposedly in movie. And at the end of the film, she plays she's teaching students and you're like, okay, she's getting her way back into the world. And then final scene of the movie, she gets up on her composer's podium, starts conducting, and then it pans to the crowd. Very similar ending to Wolf of Wall Street, if you've seen that one, even though I think this one was better. And she's playing for like a League of Legends concert, which is just hilarious. But it's an awesome ending because it's like she's just going back to what she loves, I think. She's just kind of escaping that world and seeing that, there's beauty in music and she's just gonna keep conducting because that's what she likes to do, no matter where it is.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, bit of a monologue, but
Nah, dude, I'm glad it stuck with you so
yeah,
much. All right. So for number four, I guess this movie sounds like my number four is probably the antithesis of what Tar is, and that's going to be Top Gun Maverick. I stinking love this film. I have thought about it over and over of just, is this movie good or is this movie just fun? And to me, who cares? It's in my top five. Tom Cruise gives a banger of a performance. Seeing the jets do cool tricks is so much fun. There is real tension. I think that there's real stakes. I think that there's real emotional heartbeats to the film as well. And it's just a callback to like we were talking about earlier, just a love of an action movie, a love of a pure action movie. And I think it was simple in design, but executed incredibly well. And that's why this film is really going to go down as one of the greatest action films of all time, in my personal opinion. So yeah, this movie's a adrenaline thrill ride. If you
yeah,
didn't see it in theaters, you missed out.
great film. I think there's a lot under the surface. I know we would disagree. I'm surprised you think that Avatar was a more enjoyable experience than Top Gun for you.
Just
You
just
just
the whole 3D
you just
thing.
like the 3D.
Seeing in
Yeah.
4D was super cool. It was like
It
with
was
the
just
bubbles machine and the fog machine, and
They
there
have
were some
bubble
really cool.
machines in
Yeah,
4D,
it was awesome.
so they have soap cartridges that they reload.
I guess.
Man,
But yeah, for me, Avatar was just something I'd never seen before. I guess the emotions I had alongside Top Gun are the exact same that I had the first time I watched well, one of our friends has a theater, right? And so watching it in the theater was Mad Max Fury Road, and just going, action films are awesome. And yeah, you know, if I sit here and I do like an actual think through of Top Gun, there are a lot of little undercurrents and things to go over.
Mhm.
There
But
are.
it like you said, it is extremely simple.
Mhm,
It's extremely
mhm,
simple, but it's done so well,
mhm.
and it is going to become a classic, I think.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
have it at
yeah.
14 on my list. Really,
Cool.
really good. Highly recommend.
But yeah, no, I think that one's a quick cover for me. Warren, what you got for number 4?
All right, number 4, I've got The Outfit.
I was
So
wondering where
All
you'd put
right.
it's
this
a
from
single
how much
location
you've
movie, so
talked
you know I
about
was
it.
gonna like it. But it's just such a so it's set in 19 I want to say sometime in the mid 1900s, 1920s, 1930s, somewhere in there in Chicago. And it's about this guy who owns like a
I think it's the 30s because I think it's Depression era, right?
yeah, it's probably the 30s.
Yeah.
So it's about this guy who owns, what is it called? I forget what it's called, but he makes suits. And the
He's a
entire movie
tailor.
is just I think this guy is actually really mad when people call him a tailor. But
Leonard is an English tailor
oh, maybe it is a tailor. I
who
can't
makes
remember.
suits
It's
on
been too
London's
long since I've seen
famous
this movie. But
Savile Row
yeah, so
or Row.
literally the entire movie is just shot in like whatever 2 or 3 rooms are in this building. And it's just so fun seeing a story with so many different, well, I guess not that many different sides, but these different characters who all come into this. It's basically just one big room, and all these characters are coming in and out, and just seeing the story from different perspectives as these different characters walk in and what's going on. You can only tell what's going on in the outside world through what these characters are saying in this one room, and just a very fun look at all these characters and life in 1930s, the complex situation that these people are trapped in. That I really like the ending. I thought it was possibly the best tied together beginning, middle, end movie of the year.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I wish I liked it more, but I did. I love this. It was phenomenal. Definitely gonna see whatever this director makes next. Like you said, yeah, it's one perspective really, but it's all from Mark Rylance's perspective, but it's constantly shifting based on whoever's passing through his little shop. So really great little one location thriller.
All right, Warren, what you got for number 3 then? We're
All
entering
right.
the yeah, what is
Three.
your bronze, brother?
So number 3 for me was The Woman King. Sadly, did not get any Oscar nominations, but yeah, I've been a fan of Gina Prince Bythewood for a couple years, and this was probably my favorite thing that she's done. It was such a fun visual experience, and it's just a fun story. Great performances by Viola Davis and I can't remember her name is, but the actress who plays the main girl as well. Even though how some historic events were portrayed may not have been accurate, and a lot of people got upset about that. I think just as a story by itself, it's very good, and some great performances. There were some scenes that, even though they might not work in a different medium, they just work so well for film, with just like warriors dancing, and there are a bunch of random things that just it looks so good. Even just like the color schemes, the decisions for color, the different banners in the building look like, and the sand, how it contrasts. It's so many little decisions that make everything look so good.
Cool. That's awesome.
Solid.
I'm glad it stuck with you. I really thought you were just kind of hyping it up for the longest time, but the fact that you're still going back to it at the top 3, dang, that's awesome.
What have you got for number 3, Will?
Number 3, I have See How They Run. This film is the second greatest mystery movie I think I've ever seen. I think Rian Johnson's Knives Out, Hedges is out by the tiniest margin, but See How They Run is marvelous. It's got charm to it. It has an innocence to it, but it also has intelligence and a little bit of grit and a whole lot of humor. And Saoirse Ronan kills it. And her character is adorable and wonderful and must be protected at all costs. And the movie has many things to say about loyalty and deception and just again kindness. It's great. I think this movie is a gem of a film, and yeah, it is. It's a 10, man. It's so good. And I think for when we saw this, I was like, wow, if this is the warm up for Glass Onion, I just kind of set my expectations for Glass Onion so much higher. And then in watching Glass Onion,
It's your
I
own
just went,
fault.
man, this movie is so much better by a mile, which is so much. You guys, thoughts?
Well, by contrast, I have this movie ranked at number 64 for the year.
Mm. So you have bad opinions.
Yes, he does.
All right, Warren. Well, I'm sorry. Man, what fell flat for you about it?
He missed the first 20 minutes. That's what fell
No, okay,
flat
I
for
missed the
him.
first like 5 minutes.
No,
No,
you
I
did not.
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
You missed
No,
the entire
you
setup
didn't.
for the
I
film.
didn't I
All
didn't
of the
dislike the
setup.
film. There just wasn't anything that
Yes,
really
you
stood
did.
out.
You said, what'd you give it? What rating did you give it?
Let me check.
5.
4 or
I
5,
think
right?
I gave it a 5.
And that's
I
not
gave
worth
it a
seeing
5.
for you.
So it was okay. Nothing to write home about.
I'm gonna go. Warren.
But I'm glad you guys liked it.
I didn't like it. I loved it. Carter, what you got for number 3?
Well, funny enough, for number 3, I have See How They Run.
See how it's so good.
Uh-huh. And this is teetering on the edge of a 10. It probably, if I'm ever able to get to a rewatch of this, it's for certain going to be a 10. It could even be number 2 of the year for me, in all honesty.
High praise.
Just yeah, it's delightful. It is hilarious. Any chance any time where this movie had like a chance to make a mistake or lose steam, it would just spring back to life with a fantastic sequence or just a fantastic joke, some great setups and payoffs. One of the best third acts of the year, and
Oh yeah.
that's in a year of phenomenal third acts.
Oh yeah.
So that's saying a lot. But this one just it crushed it. The last joke in the second to last scene had us just dying in the theater. It was so funny. Along with Puss in Boots, but I think even more so than Puss in Boots, I would say that if there's any film of the year I would recommend to anyone and everyone, it's See How They Run. I would say go see this movie.
Yeah, you can
Whatever
be
you
quite
can.
young in terms of a
Really,
viewing audience.
absolutely. Final note, I think that there's an awful trend where movies this year just like have, not this year, there's a trend upcoming that's been on the rise where cameos have become so common, and it's just like famous actor shows up and gets laughs. He gets laughs because he's a famous actor. It's like, where's the joke? Like the biggest instance of this year was Bullet Train, where someone shows up and I just like I
Or
sunk my head.
or
It
The
was
Lost City.
okay, yeah, I haven't seen that one, but I did,
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
Brad Pitt's in both.
as someone who quite liked Bullet Train, less movies need cameos with famous actors, and more movies need cameos of characters who are real life people. This movie has 2 of those, and they're both used for the plot, and they're both super, super funny. And I think it was just another thing that's like, yo, they're saying that's actually this person. That is hysterical.
I didn't know that I needed
Hey,
Moaning Myrtle Agatha Christie in my life until I saw it.
yup.
And then I was like, this is perfect.
It is. It really is. This movie is perfect.
All right, Carter.
See it. Oh yeah, I'm on to
Second
back to
place.
me.
The old
Second
silver
place,
medal.
runner up for me, is going to be Steven Spielberg's The Fablemans. Talked about this extensively. Not too much to add. Again, it's just a funny movie. It's got so much heart. It's Spielberg just lays it all on the line here. Shot phenomenally by Janusz Kaminski, who's really one of the best cinematographers ever now, I think. And there's a lot to it.
Sweet.
I'll send it back
Cool.
to you, Will.
Oh, Carter, where did you have Top Gun? I'm curious.
14.
Okay, you might have said that. I apologize.
Yeah.
For number 2, 1 and 2, you all know that I have 2 films left. And they are both very near and very dear to my heart this year. But I had to make a choice. And in my number 2 is The Banshees of Inisherin. I think this film is one of the funniest films I've ever seen in my entire life. I think it has that level of absurdity to it that just ties the whole thing together. I think the emotional heartbeat behind some of the little smaller minor donkey character is wonderful. I think Carrie Condon is magnificent. And I've already talked about Barry Keoghan as well. Just I think it's shot wonderfully. I think the script writing is fantastic. I think nothing overstays its welcome. I think all of the characters are extraordinarily well fleshed out. I think even all of the animals add a lot of heart and character to the film as well, even revolving around several major plot points. I think the timing is impeccable. I think the resolve and the acting in all of the characters is phenomenal. This is not only a 10 out of 10 for me this year, it's also in like one of my personal elite favorites. And I'm not saying elite to be snobby or anything. It's just this is one of my favorite films of all time. And it just taught me a little bit about myself, a little bit about how much kindness matters, and go see this movie. It's wonderful and it's amazing. And can't I can't really say anything else more than that. But
If you want to hear
Carter,
more thoughts on that, we have done a podcast on it.
yeah. Carter, you
We have.
looked a little disappointed there for a second.
Nah, I'm happy.
All right.
I love it. I was hoping to take the first spot,
It
but
was
hey,
close.
it.
I thought
I
about this
mean,
for like a half an hour.
it's a tough decision. It's a tough decision for you. I understand that, and
Mhm.
it's one of your favorites, which is awesome. We have a shared love of it.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Warren, what you got for number two?
All right, so number 2 got Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. One of my favorite MCU movies to date. It was definitely the best movie of MCU Phase 4. But I don't want to harp on it too much because we've already done an entire podcast on it. If you want our thoughts, go back to that. But rounding out number 1, favorite movie of the year, Don't Make Me Go. I don't know if have either of you guys seen it?
No, I
I
can't say I
have
have.
not.
Okay, this was very close to a 10. This is the closest I've been to a 10 in quite a while.
Wow, that's awesome.
I think if they had just cut one scene, I think it would have been a 10 for me. There's one scene that I really didn't like that I thought was super unnecessary, but it was very close to a 10. John Cho and Mia Isaac, fantastic performances. It's just such a fantastic emotional story told so well. And I'm gonna call it now. Mia Isaac is 100% a rising superstar. I can't wait to see more stuff that she's in. She was also in Not Okay this year, but one of my favorite up and coming actors. But yeah, favorite movie of the year. It is so well done. Such an emotional roller coaster. Basically, the premise of the story is it's about a dad and his daughter who go on like a cross country trip after they learn that the dad's dying, and it's just so well done, so emotional.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sweet.
All right, well, what have you got at number 1?
There's only one film left I haven't mentioned, really. And to me, just because of the emotional response to it and what it reminded me of how much me and my mom have gone through together in building our relationship and coming through it and out of it and really maturing it, mostly on my end because my mom is wonderful and I was just big dumb idiot, is Everything Everywhere All at Once. Man, I totally understand why it wouldn't be other people's favorite movies of the year. I do know that a lot of people just say this is a great movie, of course, but to me, it hit everything perfect that to me, it felt like it put into film how me reconciling my relationship with my mom felt. And that meant a lot to me to kind of be dissected and observed by someone who'd never met me in such an intimate way was a cinematic experience I'm never gonna forget. And I'm a very open and free crier. I get very emotional during movies. I don't care. It adds to the experience for me, and I think movies are designed to do that. They're to evoke a response from their audience, and this one did everything right for me. And I love Waymond and all that he stands for as a character of just like you can fight with anger and frustration and all your punches and stuff like that, but I'm gonna fight them by just being the nice guy. I'm just gonna fight it by being kind. And that was also a big plot line in the Banshees of Inisherin as well. And I don't know, I love that simplicity to the character, but what makes it complex is how that character goes about doing it. And I found myself laughing in one scene and then crying in the next, and then laughing and then crying. And this film did something emotionally for me that only one other movie ever really led me to cry like a ton, but in just a completely different way. So for that one, go watch The Irishman. But for this one, this is just my personal favorite, and it's probably in my top 3 favorite movies, or top 3 personal favorites, yeah, of all time forever. Like this is going to be, it's like someone's like, hey, so you talk about that thing with your mom, like, what was it like? I'm like, this movie. Watch this movie and take away the emotional points of it, and that's what it was. So just I've seen Banshees of Inisherin more, but I love this movie more. So yeah,
Awesome. Solid. Two great number ones. I'll close this out. Um, Number one movie of the year for me is expected. It's The Banshees of Inisherin from Martin McDonagh. I was a big McDonagh fan before, but wasn't a huge fan of him, but he delivers his best film yet easily here. It's just so incredible. It's hilarious at nearly every second. It's super, super emotionally resonant. Deconstructs friendship, kindness, absurdism, the feeling that, you're losing time, the feeling that you haven't done anything with your life, and kind of turns it all into a film that says it's important to just hang out with those, that you love and that love you. I think it's awesome. I think it's a phenomenal message. It's just a crazy roller coaster ride of a film. It's just a film that can go, like Will said, it's something you can go from laughing super hard at to being just like super down and depressed the next second, or it can like do it the other way around and go from something that's super sad and then just with like a snap or just one line of dialogue, just turn the previous line into something that's hilarious. It it's so well written. It's so well acted. Just the facial acting of Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson in this is just unparalleled. It's acting is all in the eyes, and that's they get that. They knock it out of the park. They
He has those mad
I
eyes.
he he does.
he's a little moody too.
Some say.
Mhm.
Some do say.
But it's yeah, it makes me happy that there are films like this that still get made and still can really genuinely affect people like this. And it's a great feeling to, sit with people in a theater that, that are your friends and they're just random people and to just laugh at something like this. Awesome, awesome time. Seen it 3 times, loved it more every time.
It also has the Will's mom stamp of approval as one
Yes,
of
it
her all-time
does.
favorites as well. So
hmm Yeah, as of now, film of the decade for me. So love it.
dang. All right.
I hope this wins Best Picture because it will make one person in particular very angry. And that's,
Nicolas Cage?
I live for the drama. Maybe.
Do you
I'm
guys
sure he loves it. He's a pretty smart dude. He's probably a big fan of this.
All right. So do you guys have anything else to say? Because there's one final category I would like to just kind of throw out there.
All right, throw it out.
It's
What's
just gonna
that?
be real quick. All right. So predicted number 1 movie for next year.
Ooh,
Do you guys have any ideas? Because for me, I'm gonna lock it in right now. I think
you
I'm
say
going to
Oppenheimer.
fall in love with Dune 2.
Oh yeah.
And I cannot wait for the sequel. Because man, if there's anyone who can pull it off right now for sci-fi, it's Denis. And I'm ready, man. And I can't wait, man. I'm so excited for this film. Opening night, showing 1, I'm there.
I don't know about favorite movie, but at this moment, one of the movies I'm looking forward to the most, ironically enough, might be Scream 6.
All
I'm so
right,
ready for
sure.
it.
All right.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too.
Well, Carter might have one.
Oh, okay. I tell you what, the movie that I think is going to be my favorite next year, at least, preliminary prediction.
Mhm.
We go with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh yeah. Bro, we have some good movies coming up next year, man.
It-
Carter?
It's gonna be a
Oppenheimer as
beast of
well.
a year.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oppenheimer. Say
It's
it.
it's
Say it, Carter.
it's dangerous to say like
Don't say it.
I think this will be my favorite movie of the next year because it's like how can you tell? But I'll say my top 3 most anticipated movies of the year
Okay.
I as much as I want to get Dune 2 in that list, Dune 2 is going to fall to fourth.
You're fine.
Um,
Sure.
third, no, I know, but third is going to be Spider-Verse. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
It it I'm very nervous for it, but just eagerly anticipating it.
Mhm.
And it's the top two are tied because they're so different. But I
Wait, 1 second. Do they perhaps release on the same day?
no, Oppenheimer. I don't
Okay.
think Oppenheimer's top 10 anticipated for me. I'm not gonna lie.
Whoa.
Okay.
I mean, obviously I'm looking forward to it, but I think there are just better ones that are I don't know. I'm not saying I think there are better ones that come out because Oppenheimer could be my favorite movie next year. But two very different movies. We'll say number two is Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon. I cannot wait to see my first Scorsese movie in a theater because The Irishman was on Netflix, and
Yeah.
I,
Yeah,
I
it
just
was.
am counting down the days until they release a release date for it because they haven't yet. But number one, guys, I'm being dead serious when I say that I have not been as excited for a movie in the way that I am excited for Greta Gerwig's Barbie since for a long, long time. And the trailer is perfection.
It
They know
is.
exactly what they're doing. It's tongue in cheek and it's so self-aware and it looks like it's going to be a blast.
Oh man, I really
And
thought you were gonna say you're looking forward to Chicken Run: Dawn of the Nugget.
they're making a chicken run sequel.
They are.
Nah, dude, Greta Gerwig's just out here as, just a girl
Just
boss
a girl
building
boss
her.
building her method directing empire, man.
Oh, I cannot wait.
Should be a
Same
fun year
here.
for movies.
It will
Can't
be.
wait.
Oh yeah. You guys have anything to close us out? Because I think we've summed up a year in movies quite well.
Well, I know Carter wants to say something.
I'll say it's been a great year. I hope 2023 is just as good.
Here, here.
Hope we're
Yeah.
still around next year.
That took a dark turn.
Not not in that way, but you know. But if you guys have nothing else to say, then thanks for listening. As always, guys, we are the Monkeys, and talk about movies is our business. And we'll see you next year.
Go see Puss in Boots.